met a Compton crazy mother named Ice Cube from the gang called Fellers with Attitudes. When I'm called off, I got a soda. Squeeze the trigger and bodies are hauled off. You too, boy, if you with me, the police are gonna have to come and get me off your ass. That's how I'm going out. For the pulp mothers, they're going out.
Yeah, there they go. Pretty stupid. Okay, this big guns tonight. Big guns. Shabby's brought the armor out tonight. Welcome to episode 7 of Top 5 in Collection with the lovely Gary Moore and the lovely Scuba Pete. How are you, Bob?
Awesome.
Hello. Oh, this is going to be fantastic to see you. Scuba Dooby Doo, where are you? He's right there.
He's right there.
Right there.
He's right there.
Kevin says Scuba equals Scooby Doo, Gary equals Fred, and Shabby equals Shaggy. Well, I'll take that. That could have been worse. Although I've always thought of myself as a Velma. Do you know what I mean? Hi, Gap. Good old Gap's here. Andrew Lemire says he's very curious tonight, boys, to see what direction these fellas go in. There is a lot to cover in their impressive collections. We'll talk about collections. How easy was it for you both to find your top 5? Because look behind you. You're not exactly known for 1 or 2 pieces, are you? Let's be honest. You know, how easy was it?
I went kind of off the map. It's not necessarily toys.
Oh. Okay. Well, I changed the rules. It was I couldn't decide on the top 5 for me.
Yeah.
So it was literally 5 things that I like the look of in acrylic.
That's pretty cool. But it has been different, these top 5s over the 7 weeks we've done it, because people have done it. It's like when Arsai was on, he picked an actual like a Megatron, and because he couldn't pick 1 or 2 Megatrons that he liked, so he did loads of them. And the way VTR did it with his dad's stuff and put out the stuff he did with his dad, you know. So I love all that stuff. It's always nice to have different kind of things, you know. And then Jeff did about 500 things. Jeff had loads of stuff, didn't he?
Jeff and his 5,000 toys.
Oh, did his 5,000 toys. Brilliant. Here you are, Des. Our Des is here. Palps is here. Wow, loads of people have turned up. Just debating with myself, do I have another cup of coffee this late? How old are you, Des? Horlicks. Do you still make Horlicks, Gary? I wonder. But I have the impression this one runs slightly over, but you never know. Let's have a look. You might need something stronger than coffee.
Yeah, probably.
Hi, Gilsa. Good old Gilsa's here. Good old George is here. Well, good evening, all. Looking forward to another awesome top 5. Yeah, I'm intrigued about this. Now I've heard the words acrylic and unique and not toys, so I'm looking forward to this. See what
does George's picture not look like something out of BBC Two? That you know, we're going to go into play school and just kind of
of the rest of the universe. Here's Georgie and the puppets. Exactly. Yeah,
when she worked with Jim Henson back in the day.
She's awesome, isn't she? She's brilliant. Hit that like button, you Muppets too. What a segue going into
yeah, right.
Muppets. Hey, Stu, nice to see you. Ricardo's here. Everyone in the chat. Gilster, wow. Oppy's here. Good old Ops. Wow, it's packed. It's absolutely packed. Over 45 already. Unbelievable. Nice. Hey, Dario, nice to see you, pal.
Yo.
Wow, everyone's turned up. You see what happens when I get eye candy on? I see it to say all the time.
That's a cool helmet there, right there.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look just behind you, just for a sec. Look at that.
Yeah.
So what are those helmets?
So they're the Black Series ones, although that one is from New Image Props. I got to show you. I got to grab something else just quickly then.
Yeah, of course you can.
Because it's cool that I like.
Hey, oh, now how did you get that one? That's not Black Series, is it?
So basically, yeah, this is a custom from New Image Props, which is the same as that one there. But I reached out to him and said, "Can you do me a black one?" And he went, "Yeah, sure." Nice. So it's very similar to the Black Series. Obviously, this is not got much padding in there. It's just a chin strap, but super cool display piece.
Yeah, our side's going to go mad. What do you think, Scuba?
There's one. Blast them.
Is that how we're going to do the show?
No, I haven't even opened it
like this. I'm on holiday.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Well, you know, the Empire has good benefits.
Hi, James. Nice to see you. Welcome to an evening with the bikers, James. Here we are.
I don't know
It
how
is a
the
cool outfit.
What a way to start the show.
He's done a good job on it too, because that looks like it's really well done on that
Yeah,
black. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, it was.
Hi, Zoe.
Hey Zoe.
Let's have a look. Keith Knight's here. Hi, Keith. Wow, he's getting packed in here. Travels with Jason is here. Talking about Star Wars, I want you to talk to you because you've just recently come back from Japan, Star Wars Celebration. How was this your first experience with Japan, and how did you enjoy it?
So I'm lucky enough to go to Japan every 18 months to 2 years.
Oh, right. So, Japan then. Right.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where work commitments and customers are over there, and when you go to Japan, you want to make the most of it. So I've been lucky enough to go there, like I say, a few times, and then when Celebration was announced at the time that it was like, oh well, I could just work a work trip, as the timing just happened to work out absolutely perfect to finish. I can't believe how those things work out. But,
amazing. Yeah.
And so Japan Celebration Japan was phenomenal, because I was lucky enough to do Anaheim, and then when at the end of Anaheim they announced London, and it was like, okay, let's do London, and now the trifecta, which is Japan. I would say Japan was a lot like Celebration London. So the size and scale was about the same size as London. I think Anaheim was much bigger. They had probably more content, but Japan, day one, oh, what a cluster! I mean, it was just horrendous.
Like a good move.
I arrived about 2 hours before the doors were opening, and they just didn't know how to organize the crowds. And then you got into some kind of queue system, and then the door opening was gone and past, and we were still outside. And then when we got through that queue system, you joined another queue system to not even get in. So it was just such a cluster. Nobody knew what to do.
Was it a different type of atmosphere? I asked the lads when they went to Holland, when they went to Harlem Toy Fair last week. Excuse me. And I said, is there a different type of was there in Japan? Is like a different type of atmosphere, culture there? It didn't feel like another, because you just said it kind of reminded you of London Celebration.
Yeah, again, just with the theme, everything was Japanese. So there was a lot of like the stormtrooper with the blossom on it, and so it was kind of catered to kind of more of the Oriental type kind of show. You had the Shogun, samurai warriors. Combined with like the Sith and Jedi, etc. So the theme was really cool. There was a lot of cosplay that you would never see anywhere else in the world, which I thought was super cool. Amazingly enough, the next day they sorted everything. So we went from chaos to just absolutely streamlined efficiency, which is what you kind of perceive to be in Japan. I mean, if you take the bullet train, I mean, literally it's on the second, then it departs on the second, and you're into the next destination. So everything in time and in efficiency in Japan is typically spot on. But it was like Reed Pop and their crew just didn't know how to handle Japan. Right. So some of the frustrations, there was some show exclusives. So I think it was Hot Toys. They had 3 show exclusives. And by the time we got in, the actual item that was in demand, which was, I think, was like a Anakin, really raging in his transition to being the kind of Darth Vader, that was sold out.
Wow!
And I'm not talking about sold out for day one. I'm saying gone for the rest of the show, which I think is a little bit naughty, because you should have volumes available Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Because not everybody has a 4 day Friday ticket. They were supposed to limit sales to 1 per person, or 1 or 2 per person, and people were buying like 12, 15, and so they literally, kind of peed everybody off in terms of
scalpers, even in
and they were literally being listed. They were $300 items being listed for $2,000.
Oh wow!
Jeepers.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to this. Acrylic Gary. Acrylic Gary. So are the helmets and the sail barge behind Gary just small or very far away, says Redders?
They are far, far away.
Far away. Well, you see what he did, Jono? Did you see what he did? Were you ever fancy? Did you ever fancy Celebration Japan, or have you, because you've done the London one, Scoop, and you thought that'll do me? Because I know our side keeps kicking off about he wants to go to the LA one, doesn't he? We got to go to LA. We got to go to LA. But
on it, London was perfect for us, and I don't feel the need to honestly ever attend another one.
Yeah.
For those kind of dollars and headaches and what you can actually do there, it's like, okay, no, it was fun because London for us, it was the people. Like meeting up with Gary, but everybody in the coffee shop, and then like making little adventures from there, hanging out with Cy, morning, noon, and night. All that made our celebration 1,000 times better than if Leslie and I had just decided to go there and we didn't know anybody. I don't think we had 4-day tickets, and I don't think if it was just the two of us, we would have bothered to go multiple days. Go the first day, and as you remember, you couldn't move. You were like, wow, it's taken me a half hour to move 20 feet. Like
the queues this time were absolutely insane, and they annoyed people as well with double bookings. So Hayden was there, and they booked autographs and photographs at the same time, and then people were getting cancellation notices, which was a bit of a.
I know, but that's one of your best things about you, and I've seen them through all the years we've known each other. It's you with these celebrities. You got the biggest smile on your face. He's loving it. He's like that. You know what I mean? They're all down here, and he's like, you know what I mean, loving it. They're brilliant. They're brilliant. Emma Guppy says, "Oh my God, Keith is so excited about what Gary's going to show in acrylic tonight." Look at that. Absolutely. Everyone's turned up, so I really appreciate it. John McGuire's here. Our Bryce has come. Bob is here. Wow, everybody. Cat Knight's here. This is superb. Kevin says, I'm guessing excitement will run to anger if these items that Keith doesn't have in his collection ever. I want that. I don't want this. I want that. Scuba is wearing the Scarif Armor Mark II. Is that what you're wearing? Des said before you've got the Hawaiian shirt seems to be a craze this week. I've seen a few Hawaiian
Roosevelt. Is it a Roosevelt?
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's a making it, this Roosevelt that they're all going on about. Yeah. Let's have a look. I'd love to go back to Japan. I lived there for nearly 6 years. Says Dario. Wow.
Yeah, I want to visit Japan.
I'm being serious. I'd move there tomorrow. If somebody said you have to be in Japan, I'm like, okay, I'm in.
I can't remember. Did you meet up with Treasures? Did you meet up with Phil while you were over there, Gary? Or did you meet up with anybody? Or...
JD, JD.
Oh, yeah, big JD, yeah.
I mean, he makes me look like a dwarf.
I was going to say, I bet you used to look like you're in Gulliver's Travels, didn't you?
Yeah, really. Looking out over the crowd.
Hey, all the Japanese are going, my word, Godzilla is real.
Godzilla!
Godzuki.
That's brilliant, Gary. That is brilliant. Oh, brilliant. Oh, yeah, JD's awesome, man.
What a bento box on somebody's head.
What a fella he is. And he did cosplay, so he's always dressed as a Jedi.
Sai said he saw him in London with a Jedi robe, and he said, Sai said he looked brilliant in it. I bet he did. Well, you're not going to tell JD any different, are you? You know what I mean? It's amazing, Chris. You must regret not picking up more vintage toys. I was in my late 20s at the time, so not interested in them at the time. I'm surprised our Sai's never been to Japan, to tell you the truth, because where his inspiration comes from, his art and so forth, I would have thought our Sai would have gone there. Donny's here. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all well. Yeah, we are fine. Good old Rhino's here. Hi, Rhino. Good old Gap. Wow, it is absolutely packed in here tonight. So, right, let's get down there. So, collecting. You've been doing it for ages, you two, and so forth. And you're a bit different because I know you're like me, Scooby. You're a collector. You'll collect whatever you see. Do you know what I mean? Oh, a Barbie with 3 legs, I'll have it. Do you know what I mean? But, but Gary, you tend to stick with the Star Wars and so forth. How is the collecting? And when it comes to you're collecting, as picking a top 5 as you've done tonight, is it more about the nostalgia for you guys, or is it more about the love for it? Because I think I'm kind of past the nostalgia in a way. I just love collecting toys. Do you see what I mean? And I like the new stuff as well as the old stuff. But how is it for you two when you're collecting now? I mean,
Scuba, you going first or am I?
You go ahead.
Okay, for me, it's nostalgia. Everything that I kind of collect has that nostalgia feel. So when I'm looking at things, if there's a connection, I love the stories, and that's what's kind of nice about doing a top five is that it's not really your top five items. It's a top item because it has a background and a story behind it on how you collected that item. And I think that comes part and parcel as we grow as a community. I mean, just to, like say, to be able to meet Scuba and hang out with Scuba and have a coffee is part of the experience. And then you pick something up that day and you've got that link between, oh yeah, I remember when we did this and we picked that up and Scuba was there. We were talking.
I've always said that. I always look at toys or stuff in my collection like a piece of music or a smell. Yeah. You remember who you were. You remember you were. So yeah, I get what you're saying there.
And then, like you say, we were talking backstage, and recently, a few months back, I met up with Scuba, and then Scuba brought his dad along, and we went toy hunting, and it was just like it was epic. We're in the car journey, talking.
We're in Ohio, the land of milk and honey.
Yeah. Just chewing the fat and then arriving at another toy store and then just
the Scuba's dad going, if you don't pack it in, I'm turning this car around.
So yeah, the story, then the just the whole thing about collecting.
It's awesome, isn't it? Because all three of us as well. I've always said I don't class myself as a vintage or I class myself as a toy collector. Because sometimes, like I love the new Black Series and the new Masters and that kind of thing, but I also like the old vintage stuff as well. And so, in a way, nostalgia for me is stuff we remember because we're still playing the same things, even though brand new that we did 40 years ago. Do you know what I mean? But is that the same for you, Scoobs, as well? It's the stories they tell and the people you've met and so forth.
It's definitely a touch of nostalgia. The things either that I hadn't lost or always wanted but never had as a kid.
Yeah.
But then the stories, the hunt.
Yeah,
that's the hunt for me. Yeah.
Finding something is crazy.
It's not just like now. I mean, what I've morphed into, it's not just toys. It's like going to an antique mall, like Shabby, you and I, and our wives have done, and it's like, oh, look at this. I don't know if I need this. I think I need this, and it's not even a toy,
I'll still say, Scuba, that's my favorite thing to do. So last week we went to Sanford Antique Mall, and it's just that sometimes they have stuff, sometimes they don't. But as we got there, Jen noticed there was a flea market across the road where Rogue Toys was. So we go over there, and they had loads of vendors outside. And they're all selling vintage stuff, vintage Star Wars, vintage Masters, vintage Rest. And I got a bunch of old Masters Universe for like $60, and it was all practically new. The funniest thing was for years and years, I don't really know, so Tez has been pissed and moaned at me for that A-Wing, right? That A-Wing gun. Shabby, send it over. Shabby. So eventually, our DTM came to Joe Fest last year. So I gave him the wing and did that.
Yeah, the piece.
Go to this flea market last week, right? This guy's got a vintage A-Wing out there. He wanted $60 for it. That's it. It was immaculate. Except for one thing. What do you think? What was missing?
The gun.
But I just started laughing at this guy. My wife's looking at me like, what's a bit weird? I just burst out laughing. I thought, unbelievable. If I ever sailed on one more month, do you know what I mean? But yeah, that to me, what it's all about.
That's the same as Scuba. You picked up, what was the last time we were together? You picked up was it Battlestar Galactica, or was it Buck Rogers in the 25th Century Laserdisc?
Battlestar Galactica Laserdisc.
Man, as soon as he grabbed that, I was like, oh my God, you mother.
Yeah. Oh, he's done it to you too, has he? Because he did it to me at Joe Fest last year. He did the same.
Right, look what I got. Like,
yeah.
You're like, what? Where was that?
There was a He-Man. There was a He-Man Frightener. It's a big, like, helicopter thing with wings, and this thing is to find it with the wings on and so forth. He's bare his hen's teeth, and this guy what was it, Pete? $125.
Yeah,
and he saw it first, and he picked it up, and I'm stood right next to him, going, "Please put it back, please." And he bloody didn't. He bought it.
There it is. It's just hanging up, taunting you.
Des T asks, Andy, just to confirm, how many people have you shared a room with? And he says, not nearly enough, Des. A bit spicy there. Gary, is that a Micro Galaxy Squadron Katana?
It is, yeah. No, that would be the TVC one that actually I purchased from Josh. Josh.
And
The other
it's
part,
Josh.
the other part of Holochronicles. Yeah.
I had the pleasure of meeting both Scuba and Gary Moore. Both are very tall, but both are absolute legends. Does he owe you money or something? Is that why he's wrote that? Does he owe you? How much does he owe you? $15.
We'll call it even, Stu.
No, y'all. It's just that Gary's office is massive. Those are blacks. Yeah, but I think you're right. I think it's where your cameras are. That's why I asked what those helmets are, because they look like the little ones.
You need a big collecting room, right? So I am one of those ones that are very OCD. So when it comes to putting stuff out, it takes me forever to get put a collection together. Right. It has to be, if it's not a right angle, it's a wrong angle, and it's
things are balanced.
Yeah, the balance of the force. So it's always a work in progress, and the holding area is out the back, which then comes into the collecting room. So
Gary's shelving and picture framing is so on point. Look at that. Jonathan's looking behind you, making like he does with Zero, making sure all his shelves are straight and all that sort of stuff. He'll tell you, Jonathan, if it isn't.
Tim from Boss Bounty reached out and he goes, I see that you have your katana on a shelf. I can't find a shelf anywhere in the world that would house that.
Yeah.
And so I sent him the link, and it was an Amazon link, but it's what, 4 foot by,
that's a beefy.
He looks
by 2 inches by 12 inches. So it's a hefty shelf.
Did you see
it into the studs?
Did you recently watch Vintage Troubleshooter's video? Did you see the Blue Thunder he got? All immaculate and so forth. Wow, man. But it's nice to see you, Dave. Yeah, he picked up some great stuff, didn't he? Yeah. Delvian's here, right? Delvian.
Well, I have to say thanks to VTR as well for the restoration on that sandcrawler. Wow, just to watching his video doing that for the live charity for Stu's Give Kids the World was phenomenal. That guy's a genius, right? When he takes it apart, he takes everything apart, and we're going to get this working. Oh my God, blows my mind.
Yeah, I take stuff apart and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I'm the one that takes apart and it goes, poof.
Yeah. We saw what you did to that attorney rail, and I think that was a scream heard around the world, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? Brilliant. Are those Funko Pops in the closet? Says Garrett.
Yeah, I'm a Funko closet collector. You certainly don't want to go in there. Oh my God!
Listen, I've never been like that about Funkos. It's what you collect, isn't it? It's evening Scuba, Shabby, and Gary Moore, says our Martin. Our Martin's here. To be fair, PGM is a tall lad when he stood next to Stu. Hi, David Wills of Toys. Nearly 60 people. Nearly 60 people to come and see you too. So that is you absolute legends. Thank you all so much. If it's not a right angle, it's a wrong angle.
Exactly. There you go, Andy.
There you go. Let's just get down a bit more. Quad angles must really trip Gary's trigger.
A bloody parallelogram.
Oh, brilliant. Everyone's saying hello to each other. Here we go. All 3 backdrops behind these 3 legends are so pleasing to see. Oh, thank you. I think we get proud of him, don't we? Because, what Scuba, you lot haven't seen yet. Well, most of you haven't seen. What Scuba's got in the other side of that room is going to look spectacular when that finishes. It's going to look amazing. But how is your wife with it, Gary? Does she like, right, you can stick it there and that's it? You're not putting it anywhere else? Or is she like, yeah, stick it wherever you want?
No, definitely not. That's so I have this room which I'm allowed to kind of do what I want.
Yeah.
Then it was expanding into my office. So in my office where I have it was expanding, and now that's like, we're not doing that. So everything got taken out, new shelves have gone in. She collects antique books, so anything from like 1600s, 1700s.
Wow, really?
So really, really old.
Oh, well, I know the prices. She's not going to complain about your stuff, then, is she?
Yeah, no. But the collection is starting to get curated into certain areas, and like I say, I've got right now. I have one blank wall that I need to kind of in front of me.
Canvas?
It's a half canvas, but yeah, I'm one of those ones when it's done and it looks perfect, great. But to get the vision, I struggle sometimes, and
That's where your
what takes me
OCD kicks in,
forever.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just it has to be perfect. I don't know how that's going to look, and I need some help. So yeah,
Stick it wherever you want. Stick it wherever you want. Shabby's quote of the night. So well, I am talking to good friends. Rob's Vet Show says, "Hello everyone."
That's another stream for another channel.
That's after hours.
That's a private one. If you know. Hello everyone. Can't wait to see these three boys. Can't wait to see you too, Rob. Cannot wait to see you, pal.
We were just talking about your massive
what an awesome fella he is. Right?
He just, it's weird because I don't really talk about people, but he's just cool, isn't he, Rob? He's just so laid back. Do you know, remember last year we were walking around Jovis last year, we were all going for lunch, right? And
Rob, you coming for lunch?
His sights were on target, man. He ain't going anywhere in, right? So me and Scuba, like, we're going for some salmon. No, that's okay, says Rob.
No,
I've had a protein bar.
I've had a protein bar.
That's the way he did
make
it.
another loop. We were like, holy hell.
He was brilliant. What a great.
He's like, eye on the prize, losers.
Yeah, it's going to Jover just for Rob, isn't it, really, Scoobs? Just to see Rob in action. He's superb in it. So my wife has never said, go ahead and sing it.
Again, that's another time, another channel, another.
Thanks, Brian. Vintage books, you say? Don't tell Mr. Berry.
Well,
has she done that forever, Gary?
No. It's relative. Yeah, it's
cool.
It's certainly, I think, from when that weird period of COVID transitioned or came about. I think we started to kind of just get back into doing things that we liked, and I got into more and more Star Wars and sort of other certain things. She started doing the book thing, and she goes after first editions, and there's always a theme. So in my office is now curated into, I got the tour yesterday in terms of, and this is the kids section, and this is the royalty, and this is da 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 da. I'm like, okay, is there going to be a test on this? Because I need to make notes.
Yeah, hold on. You're talking.
I've always said it about trains and stuff like that, and I always found it about libraries. When you see a picture of a really good-looking library in somebody's, I've always had a romantic thing about libraries. I think do you know what I mean? Everyone, like, if I had
Dewey Decimal Systems always got you excited.
The funny thing is that you'll buy a book, but then you take the dust cover off, and then all of a sudden it reveals its true kind of life of the book. And what she does is basically she won't throw the dust covers away, but they are taken off and then displayed.
Wow! So she does it like that.
Yeah, it's
right. Okay.
It's my office is now a big boy office, so.
Right.
Cool. Many leather-bound books.
It's not really the same, is it? Look at this 16th century. And then Gary goes, look at my Funko Pop.
Yeah.
You're going to have to start smoking a pipe.
It's not really the same
like Hugh Hefner.
Look at my plastic tap.
Oh, brilliant, Gary. Stick it wherever you want, said no woman ever. Well, there's been times when the Blackpool Pier, but that's another story. Georgie says, I call dibs on Gary's blank wall. I really need a new canvas.
Right? Yeah, blank real estate's hard to find these days.
You can store some of Stu's stuff,
Rob's mentality, says how Andrew, is to protect and serve and seek toy deals with precision. He does do that, yeah. Going to have my boy on one of those backpack leads. Come here. You imagine he's going to go mental when somebody sees it. Shabby's always fancied getting his book stamped at the library. Well,
loving the library.
Libraries. Peter's no place with one from safe from Shabby's romantic. Took all the ladies to the classy places. Brilliant. Gary, tell your wife you need a first edition of the Star Wars book in your office.
There you go.
There you go. Evening
I actually do have a few of those because they were part of the collection.
Oh, right on.
Can I just stick this with you, William Shakespeare?
You just put a rose on top of it. There you go.
Can I insert these 5?
Oh, brilliant. Shabby, I'm watching this in class, so take it easy with where you're sticking things. I'll come off that. I'll definitely come off.
From the guy that frequents people's hotel rooms.
Well, evening, TJC. Hiya, pal. Right, well, anyway, we've got to know the lads. We've talked about stuff. let's get to the honourable mentions. So let me just write Gary and Scoob's right there. Honourable mentions. Okay. So Scuba, let me just put you here first, my friend. Scuba, what is your honourable mention, buddy?
My honourable mention is my Little League baseball glove.
Wow.
Still got it.
Never left.
Wilson.
Were you a big baseball fan as a kid, Scoobs?
Oh, yeah. Played Little League forever. But this was, I can still kind of, Bobby Bonds on there. Yeah, it doesn't quite fit the paw anymore. This was, like, I remember when I mom and dad bought this for me, and dad's like, okay, you got to oil it and you got to break it in, you know. And so I remember just, even on the couch, you know, watching, you know, Magnum PI or whatever we were watching, you know, sitting there like crunching it, you know. And did you oil it today?
So you often batted them basically with a I don't know about baseball at all. So
what grade were you in if it was Little League? Is it what sort
of? That's grade school. So you're like pretty much like second grade through, I think I played through fifth grade.
Okay.
Yep. So I remember I played for the, you know, when you first start out, the teams are colors. So I was on the Maroons, which was kind of like the Bad News Bears. Like they were not good. That's like where, you know, like the Oranges, they were the like pros, right? Like everybody with skills was on the Oranges. But on the Maroon team was just kind of like everybody like left over that nobody would want. And I remember this glove, a ball gets hit, and I'm playing outfield, and I do this, like looking for it, and it popped me right in the head and you know, to the ground.
So let me ask you a question with a baseball mitt. That's what it's called, a mitt, right? Is that what it is?
Glove.
Is it one of those things that you buy once and that's it? You keep the same one throughout, or like because when we had football boots, when me and Gary were kids, you change your football boots every time Beckham had a new pair, or
this was,
you know what I mean? You know, Arteta had a new pair.
Although they were black and white.
They were, yeah.
Now we got silicones.
Yeah,
you know, it loosened up. You know, and obviously it stretched quite a bit from when I was little, you know, because you're wearing that the whole game. It's getting sweaty in there, you know. And yeah, like I said, it kind of just barely fits on the old hand.
That's amazing.
But yeah, Dad and I playing catch with this over by the public pool. There was a big field, so he could just like, you know, throw pop-ups, you know, and I'm obviously getting better at catching the ball with a glove, not my face.
Yeah. Andy says, my youth baseball bit was also my dad's old base. See, that just answers more or less my question then. Wilson A2000, and he still has it. So it was the same thing then with with us for footballs. There was a certain make that you wanted. Is it also where you live as well? Because it's baseball city. I know you've got Louisville there and all that sort of thing. So is that...
That's definitely part of it, you know, with the Louisville Slugger, you know, bats are made here. So, yeah, but it's just kind of a, I don't know, a very U.S. thing, Little League, to as like your first sport, that or basketball, you know.
It was my first sport in America because I remember years ago, before I actually immigrated here, I went to Boston, and one of my friends was Kumulon Sade at University of New Hampshire. So she picked me up at Logan Airport and immediately went to Fenway Park, watched the Red Sox. And I thought it was, I mean, I've never been to a baseball game before. And I just thought this is brilliant. I like baseball. I like watching the minor leagues in the summer at night. Do you know what I mean? Just there and having a beer and a hot dog. It's brilliant.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, to watch it live. But this is what we used to do in the outfield when we were goofing off. And it should be on our hands.
Sport I've ever watched live. Worst sport ever.
Baseball, live?
What?
Because first of all, they pitch the ball, and I want to watch the ball and see that they're in this pitch zone, and then I can't see it if it was in that zone. So then I'm looking at the TV, and I'm going, well, why am I now looking at the TV to see what I could be at home? And then half the people in the crowd are there just bored out to tears and have these big picnics and they're eating it. And it's just like, what's going on? If
It's
you
all
go
part
into
of
a
it.
sport, no,
Food,
no,
you know,
it's worse than cricket.
Oh, I love cricket. I love cricket. Oh, you know.
4-day event, and it's a 4-day event, and nobody won, and it was a draw, and or rain, stop play. It's just no.
Oh my God, my dad brought home one of those gloves from America for me when he worked there, and I loved it. So it's been, see, awesome. My LL glove had Rolly Fingers Auto in it. What's Rolly Fingers? Rolly or Rolly Fingers Auto in it? What's that, Pete?
Yeah, this is Bobby Bonds. Yeah, they had autograph models,
Cartoons. Let's see if anyone else. Brian says, I used to have several high school gloves through college, different gloves, different positions. Is that correct? So it's not, you haven't got the same glove for everybody?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So,
What's
like a catcher's mitt is huge and heavily padded to take that fast pitch.
Wow. So this, how many? So, and then the fielders have a different, and does the pitcher have a different one as well?
Yeah, pitcher's got a different glove too.
I never knew that. Never knew that at all. Here we go. Rolly Fingers. What a mustache. Scuba is disqualified. So
well, you're going to be really disappointed as we move through this list.
It's something I didn't know as well. Andy says that baseball cards have been admitted to the Toy Hall of Fame, but mitts and bats have not.
Crazy.
Yeah,
have you been to Louisville and got a Louisville Slugger?
Oh yeah,
that's a cool thing to do. That's where the bats are produced, most of them.
The old factory when we were kids, young kids, was literally like 8 minutes from our house. So we would do tours there, as a the third grade, going through. And
I bet that's interesting though. Seeing how they were made and so.
Have you done the radar where you pitch the ball and you throw the ball and see what kind of speed you can get? Yeah.
And the trying to hit a major league pitch, like the one that they now have in downtown Louisville, where they made it a whole experience. Yeah, that's really cool. But yeah, you get a bat and you're like,
oh yeah,
all right, I can
bring it up.
And you're like, what the?
Reynolds says, hey, two guests of the highest. Well, I pull out big guns. Like we said, big guns. Some gens on the show tonight, no doubt. Rhino says, I can't play sports. My parents don't buy me action figures. Was cheaper. Don't buy him that slugger. Buy him the 18. All right, that'll do. Oh, brilliant. Right. Gary, what's your honorable mention, buddy?
All right, I'm gonna bring it up. Boom.
Oh,
dude.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Yeah. So this is kind of a variation of a theme that Sai talked about. It's an action man, but it's about community. This was a gift from VTR Dave. I don't know how we got on to talking about Action Man. I think it was part of actually Stu's My Collecting Life. And this is where it all started for me. Most of my hand-me-downs was
I know exactly what you're saying.
And wow. And I think I mentioned that, it was the paratrooper and the pink beret, and just, this one was the standout figure that I wish I owned again. Mm-hmm. And then lo and behold, in the post came this.
Good like that, isn't he?
He did exactly the same thing for me. I was talking about the commander with the cap and I remember that, and through the post he'd sent one. So VTR, unbelievable. So that's awesome. That is brilliant.
It's toys, but it's also the community that really is just phenomenal. The fact that we all come together and can share our stories and talk about things. Like I say, it's a story that we were talking about, reminiscing and talking about toys, and all of a sudden, that triggers something that brings back your childhood memories. And then, like I say, the community comes together and sends something like this, all the way from England, all the way to the US. And this does sit pride and joy in my office
It humbles you, doesn't it, Gary and Scuba?
Oh, it does.
What happens is, you know, because I've been very lucky, you know what I mean, getting gifts and stuff. But I always think to myself that these people you're not talking to them at the time, you're not with them. They're thinking of you, and they've gone out and saw something and sent it and done. It always humbles me to pieces. Some of the gifts I've got off people. It blows me. I don't know what to say, and I can never shut the friends up. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know what to say.
I love that it adds a whole other dimension to hunting.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's obviously things that you're specifically like, oh, I wish I run into that. But then when you see this other item, you go, Gary. You know,
sweet, isn't it?
You know,
I know
Andy,
exactly what you're saying there.
Shabby.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, that you see something now because you've got to know. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
And then because you've heard people on the streams or in the videos or in the chats, and then you think, and straight away you look at someone and go, that person. That is weird that you say that. Yeah, you're exactly right. Please ignore Gary Moore's comment on baseball and hit that like. Action Man, Action Man is brilliant. Action Man, I know Gary would like it. So
that's so cool.
Keith Knight as well. He's a big fan, and he's beautiful Action Man.
I've seen posts where like Dave's been at Sandown or various other, you know, NEC, and it's like you see all of this Action Man stuff, and I'm glad that I'm not there because I literally
just be like, how much for the stall?
Just take my money, just have it all.
I think that about Keith Knight's got a few glass cases in his house, and he's full of Action Man with the bikes and the thing, and I'm like, wow. But what he does as well, and Keith, by the way, I'll just do a shameless plug. Keith is on next Wednesday. He's talking about his Playmobil and his shed and his customs and all that sort of stuff. But some of the stuff he does for Action Man, I'm like, what the France, man? How's he come up with that? And he took an old Cindy car and turned it into like a police car, and I'm like, for Action Man, I'm like, wow, man.
Yeah, to be able to look at something and be like, oh, I know what I'm going to do with that.
It wasn't, but did you do that with your G.I. Joe's, Scoops? Did you start with a 12-inch? Like, I'll choose my words together. I know what this chat's going to do. 60 people in this chat.
Never had a 12-inch.
Oh, have you not? I have.
Until I hung around with you guys.
Oh, well, you know.
No, that was, so I didn't, I'm the oldest, so I didn't have an older brother to, you know, do hand-me-down stuff, and being a 72 baby, you know, it was... 82 was the dawn of G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
In between Empire and Jedi. And, you know, we went hog wild. So 3 3/4, the Lord's scale, as Chad would say. It's kind of all I've ever known. But now I'm going backwards because I have that great historical appreciation thanks to people like VTR Dave. And it's just fun to go, oh, wait, not only was that a Palatoy Action Force, Action Man fit. Like now, I want him to get him in the 12-inch version. You know,
do you ever do that though? Right. So I'll give you an example. Then it happened to me when VTR sent me mine. And this is a question for both of you. You know, when someone sends you something, or you'll find like a one-off of something, right? So like your Action, does it ever make you two go, maybe I should start collecting these, or do you have to hold back and go, hang on a minute? Because Action, like you with your Action Force, you've done unbelievable for Action Force being in the States. It's crazy how much Action Force you've got and what you've done and collected. Yeah. In fact, let me just make you big one little bit, Scuba, and I think we can just see it right there. Yeah, look at that.
I mean, that's
so my point is, have you ever got something?
That's the beauty of the community, right? That's the beauty of the community, because Scuba Pete collects all of that, and Adam Berry collects all of that, so I don't have to. I get to see it.
You can enjoy it from afar.
I get to see it, and it's like, ooh, yeah, because that rabbit hole is calling me down, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. I always say about the toy hunts because we're not in
scary. We're also 3 3/4 scale.
I mean, it's funny because me and you, us three, are in the States, as you know. But I've gone to every Echo, I've gone to every NEC, I've gone to every. Do you know what I mean? Because all the videos we watch in the streams that we do. King Strong says, "Hey VTR Dave, have you ever rode it?" Oh, brilliant! Look at Gap. I'm still waiting for people to think of me. Oh, brilliant, Gap. Oh.
So my Action Men were actually stored in a so it was all hand-me-downs, but my mum used to do the Avon and used to get the Avon boxes, the cardboard boxes with the lids, and everything was lined up perfectly in my built-in wardrobe, so you had everything sectioned out, all in Avon boxes.
So you were like that even as a kid then? Everything had to be neat and tidy and yeah.
So OCD, it's crazy. And then when I think about it, it literally, like with my Star Wars toys, it was like, oh no, I can't lose a weapon, or I can't have a ripped cape or anything like that. It would just drive me insane. So everything was always in pristine and good.
If I'd been more like Gary Moore, I'd still have my vinyl cape Jawa.
That's my grail. There you go. If only I had
cape, and I'm like, what?
I know there's a missing one in the post somewhere. Who knows? It might turn up somewhere. So you might turn up at yours. That one.
I've offered a reward.
Gary, that looks amazing in the acrylics. Says vintage. So it gives you more as well, doesn't it, Scooby Pete? When a thing like that, especially from your childhood, and someone's. I remember Andy doing it with the Skywalk for me, and you did with Grayskull and that kind of thing. It gives it more of a feeling as well when it's off somebody. It's something that you've loved. Or John Lagpulse did with the Imperial Shuttle up there. Do you know what I mean? And it takes that toy we loved as kids, but it emphasizes it, doesn't it? It makes it a bit more. Because I remember getting mine signed from Bob Breakin last year, and he hadn't a clue. I said to him, sign it to Shabby. Went, what? What's your bloody name? Like that, like what? Shabby? Do you know what I mean? He couldn't work it out, could he? Luke says, generosity of this community staggering. All the gents on the screen right now have gifted me various items simply from, well, yeah. I mean, it's hard to do sometimes, but if I ever see something like you all do, and you think, oh, this person would love that. We all do it, don't we? We and
right back at you, Luke.
Yeah, right back at you. Exactly. I agree with that, pal. I really do.
I love it because it's like certain pieces just would be better off with somebody else in their collection, and you know that, right? I mean,
sitting in Luke's house having lunch,
taking up space here, and it's just like I know that I can replace that with something else, so I'm gifting this.
Rachel served us lovely food, and then Luke's like, Boulder Hill, ta-da! And it's like, what?
How did you get that home, by the way?
Well, he mailed the mountain to me, but I had the base plate, like with me on the trains, and I mean, it went everywhere with us. It was
all these English
carry on when we flew back.
Scuba went and bought a talking action man last time he was at Birmingham. Did you Scoops? Yep. Thanks, Shabby. No, thank you, mate. I can't wait to have you on next week. It's going to be a good show, that, talking about you. So I'm all for people with talent. I'm all for people with creativity. It's like what Scuba's doing now. And I don't really want to say because it's not, but what Scuba's making and doing, I'm like, wow, man, that's unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? And I just love that sort of stuff. Gary Moore, are you on Facebook? Says Keith Knight. VTR Dave is a legend. He always goes above and above. You're not on Facebook, are you, Gary?
No, my wife is Danielle. If you want to connect, Danielle Moore is
I like when you PayPal Gary, it goes to Danielle.
Yeah, I'm not allowed a PayPal account.
It's weird. Yeah, I said you want emails with Jen on top of this, a picture, and we all do the same thing. Every one of us, she'll sort it.
When he had the collection, it was like for Gary's Doghouse Fund.
Not allowed Facebook, not allowed Instagram because Gary's purchases and PayPal.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. I was exposed to my. All right, Joe's. I wonder what you rolled there, I was exposed to my older brother's 12-inch Joe's. Yeah, I second that DTM. Good old DTM's here. I think we need to shout out Mrs. Scuba and Mrs. Moore for aiding and even encouraging this vice. Oh, yeah. Not every spice is supporters of such things.
Very true.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah, I've got to admit, my missus is cool for that. She's not interested in the slightest, but she understands I am, and she knows it's part. I mean, I've done it since I've been with her, so I suppose. Have you? Yeah, you two are the same way. I mean, I know Leslie collects herself, but. Your wife always happy about it? Oh, well, it's what he does, and he wants to spend his money on. No,
there's a certain point that it's like, really. If I get to a really, then I know that I've pushed the boundaries because this would look good, and it's like, why are you coming to me? Why are you asking this? Or it would be, I would be so excited about an item that I would just go blah 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 blah, and she goes, yeah, I'm not really interested. Just
my wife takes a piss out of me. I'll start talking about it. She'll go, oh, is it mega rare? Is it on card? Like that.
There's a code word in our house. No longer can you say that was a pre-order. because everything is like, you've just ordered something. No. That was a pre-order.
was a pre-order.
And that's just
That was-
like red rag to a bull. You might as well just said.
I remember what you told us last when you and Andy did that massive. Can you imagine the Scoop? Danielle's face. I don't even want to. You know what I mean?
She was like, you're not doing it, and it's like,
Yeah,
but I am.
Yeah.
please.
We just finalized the deal. It's done.
Rob Retchell said, I remember my dad told me when I was a kid, G.I. Joes were the size of Barbies. So for the longest time, I thought the old man was full of shit. Yeah. You see, the thing is, Gary, when other people start collecting something, I do have to too. That's funny as well. Have you ever done that, both of you, when you watch a video?
Oh,
And
yeah.
you think, oh, maybe I should get into that. Maybe I should.
No, I've tried to stay clear of that.
That's what Action Force from Analog Toys, when he started doing the history of Action Force, I was like, oh, what is this from across the pond?
So is that how you found out through Tony then?
Yeah.
Scoops about it. Yeah.
Yep. I watched his SAS video, and I
Yeah.
literally watched it and then promptly went on eBay like that night, and I bought the Panther from England complete.
Yeah.
And had it shipped over, and that's before it got, prices obviously went up, but even back then, what was that, like 2018, something like that, it was reasonable still to have it shipped over.
Yeah, it wasn't that. There was that guy at Joe Fest last year, and he was selling them at great. I said to you, these prices are unbelievable. He was selling dirt cheap. So I suppose you didn't want to take them back.
Even his prices at his NEC stall,
right?
Very reasonable.
Yeah, he was a really nice fella.
And he asked me, he was like, "Is it worth, going to Joe Fest?" And I'm
Actually,
like,
I do.
Luke, guess Gary's got more stronger willpower than you. I think he has, to tell you the truth. Yeah, look at Luke, 100%. Adam Berry says, walking around Sainsbury's with my iPods on with Shabby, Gary, and Scuba's voice in my head. It's like a fever dream I've had before.
You're getting very hungry, Adam.
Oh, brilliant. Right, let's get to number 5. Right, Gary Moore, I've got you, big my friend. So what?
All right. Another piece of acrylic coming your way.
Hey, Leslie.
Hello, babe.
So, boom.
Wow. So let me make you bigger for that.
So this is a very cheap Saga collection. Well, it's 2 pieces that have been put together. It's a first shot prototype, so it is slightly unique. But this is a graded item from Cass, and I just love the Luke Han in Stormtrooper disguise. I think it's such a cool item. And when I think about, these guys are wandering around the Death Star, what better way to do it than in disguise? So it brings it onto like the Andor piece and seeing like Cleia going around the hospital in a hospital gear, or the Ordani mission where they're in just disguise. Such a cool piece, and like you say, a pretty random piece to put in acrylic. But
did you put it in acrylic yourself, Gary, or did you get it like that?
I purchased this like this. As soon as I saw it, it was like, oh, that's got to be mine. That's
amazing, Scoops. Look at that.
Needs to be in my
that is incredible. I love that they're not just like standing on top of the garbage, like they're in it.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Leia with the pipe that's kind of trying to push it out. You've got Chewie probably beating down the wall. You got 2 Dianoga monsters that, like I say, that are first shot prototypes, and so it's kind of
wicked.
Yeah, just a cool scene.
Really cool. It's an iconic scene, though, isn't it? Everybody knows what that is. So,
and like I said, these sets were what, 1999, I think, from Saga, when the pieces come out, and then you put it in an acrylic, and it it makes it pretty cool.
That is absolutely brilliant. Reynolds says, "I have a lovely shining golden rod."
and then I'm gonna do a kind of a
help yourself.
A Jeff Barker, because I just think
nice.
Just pieces in acrylic that go in part with being in disguise. It's just super cool pieces. The John Tyler Christopher comics that that are graded. Just seeing those with like what would be the card back, and that's a bit of a grail item as well. The Power of the Force, Luke Skywalker.
That is unbelievable.
So yeah, those pieces I think are pretty cool, just to see, Star Wars characters in disguise.
Acrylics, is that as popular to you like Guppy? When we had Guppy on, he was showing loads of stuff that he'd had acrylics, and it does enhance it a bit. I've got to admit, it does look a bit more. Is that what you do with yours? As soon as you get it, you think straight in acrylic, or only certain items?
Yeah, I've gone a bit acrylic mad,
Right.
and so there's a lot of pieces that end up being pretty cool. I'm okay having graded items when they do it, but also there's a lot of like Ian displays or GW acrylics that you can buy to enhance things. And I think if you're going to display something, I actually think that it does look better in acrylic. So not for the camera with all the glare, but at the same time, when you're walking around and having a look, it looks more like it just looks more like a museum piece.
That makes perfect sense what you say.
Yeah.
Gary, I've gotten the really, really many times.
Really?
Our house is always full of those cancelled
pre-orders.
You're not doing it, but I did it 40 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Georgie, I thought your house was full of cardboard boxes unopened. Look at everyone just having to go at Georgie now. Look, oh, brilliant.
Apart from his 17 R5D4 or whatever.
Oh man. Well, so Tony and George are responsible for. He was the first one that brought it back for me. Scoobs was George when you saw George's collection.
Oh my gosh, yeah, bonkers. Yeah, so Tony, George, Stu sold me a bunch of his SAS collection years ago when he was like, "Nah, I'm just kind of revamping." There's Dragon Reborn. Carol has helped me out. Gary Atkinson also. So yeah, there's many contributors to my madness.
It's everybody else's fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah, never your fault. Exactly.
It's not my fault. And George sent you chocolates, Leslie. Here.
Oh,
Andy in my house is mud. It's like that Andy again, because we did the collection thing and other things that with Andy. It's like, I can always blame Andy.
Yeah, let's just play that book. So Matt's collection, after showing your number 5, is just showing it's an acrylic full of garbage.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Scuba Pete, what's your number 5?
So my number 5, sticking with that is a Brazilian knockoff.
Lead.
Yes, it is lead. I found this at the Great Ohio Show. Wow. I mean, his arms are screwed on. His hip is pinned in there with a rivet.
And that's how they actually came like that, Scoop.
Yeah, because this is before they were licensed
to do.
Yeah. So this company was like, well, we make model trains. Why don't we just make small little figures? And so they got their hands on. I mean, the molding is really
cool.
Well.
Yeah, definitely tell you who it is. Soulful.
He's not in the bestest shape, but it's an entry level price.
He spent a lot of time in the trash compactor.
That's right. Yeah, he's a little banged up. Doesn't have his saber. But
so tell the story, Pete, about how you came across this, because it's an interesting story.
So there I was, the Great Ohio Toy Show this spring, and Friday night's kind of like preview night, and because I know the folks that put it on, they were kind enough to ask if I wanted to buy a pass for preview night. So
yeah,
Michael French, he came up and we hit it early on Friday, and so people are setting up their booths and whatnot, and it's 7 buildings of tables, so you're constantly looping, because some people will just set up, cover their stuff, and then they're gone. Other people, will sell while they're setting up or stay all night and sell. And so I met this young man, Mike, and he's in his middle 20s, and he's a huge collector of these Brazilian KOs, and he had just them in a little locked glass case, and I couldn't believe it. And he just on a whim brought them. His dad was the one who was, selling.
And you've never seen them before, Pete, right?
I'd only, seen pictures and knew right away what they were. And I was like a moth to a flame. And I'm like, woof, and he did have some that were paired with the correct boxes.
Wow.
Because they've got a specific.
Oh, that's right. I remember the picture. It was Princess Leia one with the box, wasn't there? And so
yes.
forth. Yeah.
That felt lining, right?
Yep. Why? And that Leia, I think, was $4,000 or $5,000.
Gee.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Well, Leslie's watching, so she knows because I asked her for money. It was
Leslie, go make a cup of coffee or something. Go make a cup of coffee.
No, I literally went to her, give me your money.
Was it?
And she went, what? Because she had some walking around cash too. And I'm like, give me some money.
All of it.
And she's
All
like,
of it.
what? And I'm like, I'm getting that. I'm like, that will not be here tomorrow.
So how much did it cost you? $400, did you say?
Yeah.
$400.
Yeah.
The
Well,
thing
he's
about
kinda,
it,
like I said, he's an entry level,
when are you going to see that again, though?
right?
Have you
In
ever
the
seen them,
middle of
Gary?
Ohio.
No, only
Midwest.
pictures. Never seen
No.
one out on the wild. I've seen people selling them, and they go for a pretty penny, like you said.
Yes.
So.
And what were they called again, Scuba? What was the person that made them? What were they under?
Oh, see, that's where I brain farted. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
I can't remember the name
company.
either.
Right.
It was Glasslight that took over the real.
Yeah, they had
production
the official
afterwards,
license,
yeah,
but
yeah.
this company was before them, and I'm shame on me. Where's Kieran? Kieran Ball. Tell us the company name.
I'm fascinated, mate. I mean,
But yeah, they made train
$5,000,
parts,
wow.
so they worked in metal.
So is that weighty, Pete?
Oh my gosh, he's a chunk. So this is out of lead.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Everything looks better in acrylic, if you ask me, says Asenberry. Well, yes.
Kieran, poor Leslie.
Pod Racing Palps, good old Palp says, I love those JTC comic covers. Yeah, they were awesome.
They are
Matt's
awesome.
Collection says, hey, Martin, did you order the Howler for Sabine Wren figure? Order a Howler? What's a Howler? He said, I did, Matt. What's that? Do any of you know what a Howler is?
Mm-mm.
No, here we go. Holy cow, a vintage Skywalker figure in worse condition than that. Yeah, but it's not just a vintage one, is it? We found that out tonight. Would you ever get that Brazilian look restored, Scuba, or would you leave it as it is?
No, leave it as is. And I actually have a little acrylic case that I ordered to put him in, for a single figure, just to keep him safe.
DTM says, Pete's Luke's knockoff looks like he's not wearing any trousers. That's what DTM's got out.
Yeah.
There's a Luke down there with no strides on.
Tatooine's really hot.
Vincent says, bit early for Scuba to be showing his Brazilian.
You.
It's not a stream until we see a Brazilian.
Just put it wherever you want it.
I've said it before, but it bears repeating, says Matt's Collection. My biggest fear is that after I've gone, Wendy sells all my collection for what I took my wife will just give it away.
What she thinks she paid for it.
Yeah.
I'll give you $100 for all of it. Jenna go, yeah, I'll take it. Do you know what I mean? I'll give you $100 to take.
I get a lot of threats that we're going to just sell your collection at pennies on the dollar, and it's like, no.
I've never. You get a few lads that think like that, don't they? About what happens, but I've never had that for thought. Me, I just enjoy doing it. Have you ever come across that? Like, well, maybe one day I'll have. I never have.
Nah.
It was interesting meeting Jeff Jacobs at ICCC. So I was there in Nashville, and I saw him, and it was just like, I'm going to have to go up and just ask him a few questions about, why. And it was, for him, it was just the right time to part with his collection. He wanted it to go to other collectors. So people that were in the collecting community that he could, put out all of his pieces. And he just said the timing was right to kind of sell off the collection. So it was interesting to hear his point of view, because he's just done it. I mean, it's a mega collection, so it's not your.
He was an interesting bloke, though, guy, because I remember watching him on Holo Chronicles, and that was a great interview with him. I thought, what a nice guy, because I'm not saying anything, but you'd think with the collection he had, he'd come across like a bit of an ego. I mean, obviously the guy's not short of cash, but he was such a nice guy. He was really laid back, and I liked his story about how he got into construction and how he found some stuff. And I thought it was really. If none of the chat, and there's 60 of you in here, if none of the chat have ever watched Hollow Chronicles with Jeff Jacobs, watch it. It's well worth the watch, definitely.
A really cool
interview. Mr. Cutsy says model trim.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Cutsy. That's awesome. Nice to see you, pal. Rob's Retro says, I'm going to get a Brazilian video. Thanks for that, Bob.
Wax on, wax off.
Hiya, Brian. Good Brian's here. George Aiken says it's a vintage collection Sabine with Howler ride. Oh, it's like the Blurg thing, but it looks like a giant wolf. Got you. Right. I was actually commenting on your financial status, Leslie. Kieran's looking for a loan after oh, let's have a look.
Do you get like that though, Pete? It's like you go with a budget to a con or a show, and literally within 10 minutes your budget is out the window, and it's like you're like
flipping time.
If I didn't have GeForce and Scuba and me last year, especially the first year, I honestly I'm a sucker for it. Do you know what I mean? Do you want it? Yeah, I'll have it. Got Scuba GeForce going, calm down, champs, calm down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're like, look at this, and I'm like, ooh, see if you can get a little cheaper.
Yeah. It's only $6 million. Oh, I don't know about that, champs. Keith Knight always says my collection will be worth a fortune when I'm dead. Like that will be my first.
Sell it now. Sell it right now. He's gone.
Oh, brilliant. GB Models is coming. Hello there. How are you all coming from Australia? Hello, mate. It's nice and early for you. So good morning. And thanks for popping in, pal. It's lovely to see you.
Welcome.
Obviously, my first thought will be, how do I make this look like an accident?
How do I get the blood off the acrylic?
Asking for a friend.
Blunt force trauma. We need to make it look like something else.
Oh, that's brilliant. Looking, Leslie, sorry, mate. All that money came in. Bang shot. Rob, you should see if Pete would give you a Brazilian and Joe Fest live on Shabby as well. Yeah. Could do that. Do you know what I mean? Cat Night, surely your first thought would be how to make it look like an accident. Yeah. Brilliant. Give me all the things.
All the things.
That Luke figure looks like a little lady. I'll show myself a little lady. I'll show myself. Well done, pals. Well done. Shabby gets double excited. I do. I'm not one to go to these conventions and this and that, and so I save up and to go to Joe Fest to have a good time. But it's weird for me because usually I've got 4 kids and this and that, so you've got to say, oh, I can buy this and I won't buy that. But when you've got loads of money in your pocket, you're like, I'm gonna go mad. I'm like Willy Wonka in a chocolate factory. You know what I mean? Everything.
Yeah, you're like, yeah.
I'm having enough trouble.
Wait, that's a little high.
Shabby's having enough trouble keeping a I know it's weird. I'm up and down like a bride's night. It's dead weird. There we go. Cat, surely your first up will be which Cliff Richards to play it, if you know. Rob's Retro
doesn't want to be haunted.
Rob's Retro says, I want my collection to go to true collectors like you lads. I don't want it to go to someone trying to make money. I'm a giver and wanted someone to appreciate it. It's all about the passion and the money. That's one of the things, Gary, that Jeff Jacobs said. And he sounded genuine when he said, I've had my thing. I'd like it to go to somebody, you know what I mean? Obviously, he's going to make money off it. But
it was the same as when me and Andy bought the collection. The guy, Raj, who we bought it from in Chicago, just he probably had a better offer in with somebody that was going to take the collection and just piecemeal it all off and sell it and make money. Yes, and he was so insistent of working with me and Andy because he knew that it was going to collectors and collectors of collectors, because that whole thing was just phenomenal. But to be able to piece it off and then give it to collectors from
but
all
that's
over
what you and Andy did as well, though, Gary.
All over the world.
Yeah, exactly. It's global now.
And all that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
So cool. Yeah. So it was
brilliant when someone asked about Indiana Jones and you and Andy went, no, it's all gone. We all knew it was vintage toy. We all knew. BTR's got that. It was brilliant. So after that lovely thing that Rob wrote right there, Andy Lemire writes, Rob, why wait? Rob goes, I'm not gone yet. Really charming, Andy, charming. My collection will be in a tomb with death traps in a remote part of the world.
Final will and testament.
Big rolling boulders, poison darts.
He's done it for me this year. Bloody Rob, man. Rob's a big part of our community, and he's a lovely bloke. He really is. They're being buried with me, says our Brian. They'll need a forklift to put me down. And there you go. Right. Well, anyway, we
box.
imagine. Crumpled because some from Amazon funerals. They'll all be knackered at the side of the box, you know. Anyway, we've done number 5s.
Pour out some packing peanuts.
Number 4. So, Scuba Pete, I've got you, big son. What's your number 4, pal?
Well, we're not doing toys. Oh, not on this one. This is a recent find. This is for our tiki bar, and it is one of my new favorite things. It is the bill of a swordfish from back in the day, and I found it for stupid cheap. Like, these go for a couple $100. I didn't pay anywhere near that. Not like that.
Is it bone, Scuba?
Yeah, so that's bone. Let me. You know what? I'll show you this thing. How's that? Yeah, you can kind of see the structure, the bone structure.
Yeah.
Yep, but as you know, we're in a full-on tiki bar redo, and this has a pride of place. Like I really want to figure out where that's going to go to really show it off. Am I going to, hey now, or
it is cool. I mean, how big does swordfish get? That thing's about 3 feet.
Huge. They get huge. Yeah, you figured this was, the rest of the fish was that way, like another 8 feet, 6 feet. I mean, they're huge fish. So
Andy says it looks like Captain Caveman's Club.
Yeah.
I just want to know, did you wrestle a swordfish for that? You know what I mean? That would be a good story.
And what's even cooler is I found it at the toy mall in Louisville. So it was at the toy mall because there's still a few antique booths at the toy mall. And so, yeah, unexpected find.
I think it's awesome. What, above your bar? Above it right there?
Yeah, because it is so long, I think it would. Oh, yeah.
Do you know the age of it, Pete?
I think this is probably from the 50s. By the whole like Block Island sword and the way it's all mounted, and
I would never have even thought of buying something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's like on a double, like it's a really old board. So this is definitely something that in the modern day, people aren't doing this.
Yeah.
So
just listen, we've got to be careful though. Don't turn around to people and say, I'm going to show my bone in the tiki bar. You might get a bit of funny looks there, Pete. Do you know what I mean? So
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a big one.
Leslie says, I'll do the gypsy funeral and burn it all with Pete. That's awesome, Pete. Looks like Captain Caveman's Block Island. I've been there. Where is Block Island?
That's up East Coast.
Yeah. Perry says Scuba's gone all Steve Irwin on us. Next time I'll be
wrestling a croc. Funny story, my first day evening on the job at the aquarium, I did help wrestle a alligator.
I'd shit myself.
Yeah, it was
I'm
6 footer, and it had busted its nose. And here I am, they're like, it's my first night on second shift, and they're like, touch nothing.
Yeah.
Like, just walk around. If something's broken or there's water, call us and we'll come in and help you, but touch nothing. And so I'm sitting in the control room, and we've got a computer that's showing like flow rates and all that, of the big massive tunnel tanks. And this gal comes in and she's like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm Pete. I'm new. And she goes, come with me. And I was like, it turns out her name's Crystal. We were fast friends. She's like, come on, I need your help. And so we went to the alligator exhibit, and she's like, I've got to put salve on the nose of that alligator, and you're helping me. And I was like, cool. I'm like, this place is great.
You say cool. I would have ended with off.
Well, she was like, I'm going to
Crystal
go out first. Yeah, Crystal went first, and then I was second. So I had the tail. Yeah, sorry. That's my.
We're not scared.
No.
Oh, no way. I'm
I
still a
was
guy
like
goes to the
riding
zoo.
that adrenaline high, like I can't believe I'm doing this. Like freaking first night on the job, and this is cool.
Different world for me, Gary. I completely do. I would have gone.
Just the logbook entry. Yep. Day 2.
I did. I wrote it. Yeah, we in the logbook. Like,
Jeepers. Did it right? Well, I'm fascinated now. Did it go? What's he doing? I mean, obviously, he didn't say it, but did it squiggle about, or how big was it? How big was it?
Horrible.
Nothing horrible.
No, it's. I mean, they're. They could be fast when they want to, but
yeah.
It was one of those, like, obviously Crystal was in charge of their exhibit, so she knows those individual animals, how they behave, and we're not talking like some 10-footer, but it was just a 6-footer. So she was able to kind of cajole him a little bit, and she's like, okay, take the I've got the dangerous, really dangerous front end, but you've also got the tail. So I literally sat down on the gator with his tail behind me.
Wow. I don't know this story. Wow, yeah. That's brilliant.
Yeah, because she's like, and don't get too far up on the back of the gator, because then that means his tail's like, wow,
I bet they're strong buggers, aren't they, as well?
Very strong. They're just one big giant muscle. But yeah, the adrenaline was kicking in,
Well, the moral of the story, everyone, is don't get on the wrong side of Scuba. Don't get on the wrong side of our Scuba. Gary, what would you do? Crystal came up to you and said, Gary, come and sit on this.
I think, my work injury is probably a paper cut. So I'd have been like, yeah, see you, Crystal.
Island of
yeah. You asked me to move a bucket, Crystal. Fair enough, but the island of Dr. Scuba, says Gap. Vintage Tourist says, and now they're missing a swordfish. Scuba, that's pretty cool. I'll let that slide. But the other one, next better be a Shogun Rodan. Scuba, I've got to take duct tape out a stick and put it on the canvas and call it wood. I'll sell it to you for $5. Everyone's just looking at the last 5 things. Scuba, you should have that sticking out the wall and tell everyone the rest is
next door.
The rest is Scuba, are you going to decorate it all before you add the bar area, or keep it as it is?
We're gonna decorate, but I've also got to rework the bar as well, because the bar tops all need to be expanded, and it's a. I know Chris is coming, so Leslie's like, "Yo, the bathroom down here that will be for Chris to use for his own private bath. It's a used storage unit for the tiki bar. So, like, dude, get on it. Like, let's get this stuff on the walls." And so,
he's got 2 alligator taps as well that you pull down, and it was.
Rob just said, damn, I think I saw that on Quint's boat. Oh, Mr. B used to spend his summers on Block Island. So there are, Mr. B. So that's cool. Rumour has it, Des T has a fish finger mounted on the wall.
Fish finger.
Scuba, can you stick that swordfish where you like?
Anywhere, Dave.
Oh, brilliant.
Anywhere in the downstairs area.
Oh, brilliant. Kieran, I don't have to. I have no say on the deco of the thistle, do it's always fun. And Leslie said 6-footer. That's what she said. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. The alligator story is awesome. It is. I wrestled my wife quite often. I bet it was similar to Rob's Retro. I once wrestled a meth head. That was a bit like...
I bet it was, Rob. I bet it was.
Oh, no, Rob, that's true story. Yeah. There you go. True story.
Andy Lemire, I wrestled a goat once. Nothing like an alligator. Absolutely brilliant. As kids, we would all try and ride pigs and calves on the farm, right? When did it turn into this? Thistle do is exclusively purple and green and has thistle decor. Thistle decor, right? I have visions of Scuba, cowboy boots, holding his sword. Redmond goats.
Goats.
Let's see him up.
Yeah, let's bring Andy back on to talk about the goat wrestling.
Oh, brilliant. Anyway, Gary, what's your number 4, pal?
Well, I don't even know how I'm supposed to top that, but you know, I'm. All right, so another piece in acrylic that I think looks pretty cool is so talking about Japan. This is an alternative head Takara C3PO, and C3PO is kind of my focus figure. So I have quite a few pieces with C3PO. This is a 12 back, as you can see. So yeah, this kind of has an interesting story that goes along with it, as I said. So I go to Japan, and I find an awesome Star Wars store, and it's in Shiba, so it's just outside of Tokyo. Get there on the train, and I'm with a work colleague who has no interest in Star Wars, by the way. So I've dragged him a few hours to go to a place called Starcase, and we find this location. It's in this little town. It's on the second floor. You can see it. So we decide to have a bite to eat before we go into the shop. Yeah. And there's a 7-Eleven just across the way, and I don't know if you know, but 7-Elevens are Japanese owned, and they have they are. It's a Japanese company. 7-Eleven is Japanese ownership.
See, so how would you get the big guns on, Scoobs?
There you go. See, culture.
7-Eleven. Are you sure about that?
100%. So they have some awesome items in 7-Eleven. So we're having a bit of lunch outside, and this guy comes cycling along with his bike, parks his bike, and pulls out a kind of I don't know, banjo or something like that, and just starts singing in the square. So we're eating a sandwich, listening to this old gentleman, just it's a wonder. He just singing a wonderful song. And we're looking at each other going, this is so surreal. First of all, we're in Japan. We've come across the city. We found where we wanted to be. This guy seems to be serenading us right now, which was kind of fun. And then we go into the store. So game face on, and it's wall to ceiling, floor to ceiling, Star Wars. I mean, it's just one of those ones where for me it's just overwhelming. I can't see the wood through the trees. Everything is just information overload, and it's just flooding my head, and I'm walking around, and I'm just doing circles around this store and just trying to take everything in. And then I come to a glass cabinet, and in there is a whole set of Meccano's figures, which I think, oh my God, they are phenomenal. And I'm punching in my translator in terms of what's the currency exchange.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, 3,600. That can't be right. That seems really, really low. But I mean, it's not out the realms of this could be something. And then I look at the number, and it's like, it's got an extra zero. So yeah, the Meccano pieces that were in the cabinet was $36,000 US. And I'm like, wow. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Maybe not this time. And then down below was a Harbert figure, and it was some Italian figures, not the Yoda that we sold.
That was awesome.
There were some other Harbert figures, and then right to the right was the Takara C3PO. Well, first of all, C3PO, my figure. Secondly, I mean, if you're going to go to Japan and buy a figure, it should be Japanese. And so I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm looking at the number, and I punch it into the translator, in currency converter, and I'm like, well, can do better than that. So I go to the proprietor, zero English, literally.
Oh, no.
So I'm communicating with as a typical Englishman. Shout a bit louder and and a bit slower, and he'll understand me, right? So what is your best offer on this one? And he's like the price. So he's pointing to the price, and I'm like, and so I'm punching numbers into the converter, making offers, and every time the answer is no. The answer is no. No, and I'm like going up in increments, and he's not coming down. It's just a point blank no. And so I kind of stop and think, okay, all right, time out. And then I'm walking back around again, and I'm like, no, I gotta have this piece. I gotta have this piece. And so I'm back at him, and then I'm punching more numbers in, and he's still shaking his head. It's like literally, this is the worst. This is the worst negotiation.
Having none of it, yeah.
And then finally, I get him to give an alternative number in terms of what was it, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm buying it. So
yeah. And then his English turned perfect. Thanks, Gary. I got it.
Yeah. Do you need a receipt with that?
Yeah. Would you like a bag?
I really don't like you.
Oh,
but I'd say just the whole experience of going out there and kind of trying to negotiate in Japan was just hilarious. But I ended up with an alternate head Takara. And
Can I
is that a typical thing in Japan? Is like the price is the price?
Typically, yeah. I mean, again, there is generally some negotiation. What's your best price? But usually it's very close to the number that they have stipulated.
So Takara was the official license for Star Wars in Japan
for a little while, yeah. So what Kenner did is they outsourced production to Takara, and then those figures ran for a period of time, and then Kenner had production that then they would ship over to Japan. And then basically get put onto the alternate cards and then sold. But so there is a certain number of Takara produced figures. Right. Notably the is it the C3PO, and I think the Vader has a different head shape or sculpt.
So the head's completely different to the kind of one then, Gary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was that sticker thing on the bottom of the? Yeah.
So that's basically telling you, and it's really funny because obviously they come with various descriptors that are on there. So basically, it's telling you it's C3PO, but then all of the language is in Japanese with the authenticity and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty
very
cool.
Impressive, mate. Yeah, great story as well. The funniest thing is, before you came on, Jonathan says, "Go, let's hear more about your Andy." And he says, "Quick, Gary, find a goat or a cow."
Oh, make it big again.
Yeah.
Oh wow, look at that.
So that's talking about 12 inches. You got to have.
Wow.
So that's another. That's another awesome piece for a C3PO, and really while we're there, this is my only tri logo. So
very impressive.
Hello.
Wow.
So I've got a tri logo.
Yeah, our size. I think size favorite was 3PO as well. You're the two I know that really like C3PO.
We've got Empire Strikes Back, which is the.
That's awesome.
Then we've got Power of the Force. So that's the Power of the Force. Then we've got another. This is a graded Empire Strikes Back, different version, obviously, with the what was that, 21 back, something like that. Yeah, 21 back. 21 back. And then we've got another. This is a 12 back C US cannon.
Wow,
gorgeous.
And then we have obviously part of the collection that we grabbed hold of. We had all of the droids figures. So we have the droids C3PO.
What's the Toys R Us sticker back in
this was, how much was it? $2.97. $2.97. And then I also have one of those as well. So a little.
Wow.
Oh.
C3PO is definitely a cool figure for me. I think Anthony Daniels is he's Mr. Convention, so he ends up being at all of those conventions. And people have said that he's he can be off or kind of difficult to speak to. Never found that. I've always found him the most genuine guys that I've ever met. When we were at Star Wars Celebration in London, we were all looking around and looking at a C3PO head, and he come in and started talking and goes, "Yeah, this and this and this and that." So
brilliant experience. Let me ask you both a question with the pristine on that and so forth, because obviously, and it comes back to what you were saying about everything has to be nice and neat and everything else. Have you both of you, have you put stuff away because it's not as pristine as you wanted? Do you know what I mean? Or does it? I mean, in both of your cases, you know, when you find these, because you know, I'll find vintage stuff and it's a bit scraped, I'm not really that bothered. But is it a big thing for the way you two collect? I'll start with you, Gary.
Yeah, yes and no. There's certain things that I want absolutely pristine, and then there's certain items that I go, no. It's really to see that toy has been played with and, you know, gone through that process, and now it's in my collection and I can display it how I want to display it. I think it has, again, it has story, adds to the background of the whole thing, and so, you know. When it comes to OCD and you know, seeing card creases and bends and twists, I get a little bit like, but at the same time, I think it shows that it's had a life. It's, you know, it's not just looking now on a piece of acrylic. It was interesting listening to one of the guys at ICCC brought a rocket firing FET, and he had it graded, and so he bought it loose, and he goes, he had to fire it. He actually put the rocket in and then did it once, and that was it before he sent it off the grading, because it was like, I can't own this piece and never fired the rocket and then stuck it in a piece of acrylic and for it just to not been fired. So I mean, it's that whole thing. So yeah, yes and no is the answer to the question.
Yeah, it makes sense. What about you, Scoobs?
I think it for me, it depends on the piece. You know, if it's something seriously rare, then yeah, I think I'm a little more forgiving on, you know, a scuff or a bonk. I think if it's something more readily available, I tend to do like a placeholder. You know, say like a G.I. Joe figure.
Yeah.
And so you see another one that's in, you know, the paint. You know, he doesn't have a paint rub on his head or something, and you're like, you know what, that is better than the one I have at home. And it's like, yep, trade. You know, my childhood ones are my childhood ones. I would never upgrade those ever. But you know, say somebody like Chuckles that wears Hawaiian shirts, it's like, oh, there's one, but he doesn't have his gun that goes in his holster. But it's like, you know, he only wants like $15 for him, and you're like, okay, I'll grab him. And then you know, a year goes by and you see a perfectly pristine Chuckles. He's got the gun and he's like 25, and you're like, yep, I'm having that. And then you're trading.
That makes perfect sense. So you buy it and then you'll just sell off the other one if it's not from your childhood, basically. And yeah, that's a good base.
Or in this group, you know, this wider group, there's always somebody that's like,
something.
Yeah. Hey, I'm looking for, and you're like, okay, well, you know, it's this. No, I don't care. And you're like, cool. Okay, we're have it.
No,
I think Adam Berry reached out to me and said he needed 3 figures to finish the first. It was either the 96 or the 72 or whatever number it was, and it was like, I dug through them. I was like, yeah, have them, and you know, these are the go and spare, and you just send them off to him. And he's like, these are great because these are things that I don't have, and
so things you were that concerned about, you've made somebody else delirious about it. Yeah. 7-Eleven often ties in with Bandai, says Palps. You can get Gundams in 7-Eleven colours, but at a cost a lot over here, not as much as a swordfish nose, though. So yeah, I was nearly stung by a wasp once. Touch and go, so it was.
Very vicious.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, look, I'll get the coat for you. I was stung by a bee once. 30 quid for a jar of honey, thieving bastard. Oh, no, I love this chat. Brilliant. And I gotta go with you. I was stung by an eBay seller. Does that count? Oh, brilliant. More of a self-inflicted wound, Kieran. They do a 3PO style droid figure that I'm not sure of the destination of. He's all golden with one red arm. Never heard of that one, no, to be honest. Gary's art of the deal, says Kieran.
Absolutely.
Andy Lemire says the best price is always the listed price for the seller.
Yeah.
I think if they're not budging though, Gary and Scuba, and have you ever done that yourself, Scuba, and you tried to get somebody down? And if they don't move, they know what they've got, don't they? Basically, is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah, I think for the most part, most of us know if it's a reasonable deal. If it's just off the charts and you just go, well, that's just ridiculous. It's not even worth attempting to kind of have a decent conversation. But if you see someone that knows that, yeah, that's about right. Yeah, you want to kind of haggle a bit, but they know their stuff, and that was the funny thing of going into the store. I mean, he knew his stuff very well. So,
do you think the same way, Scoobs?
Being with so many brick and mortar stores around us, often the prices, I'm horrible at negotiating. So often I'm like, yep, I'll have that. I think that's a very good price. But I remember VTR Dave took me Easter to the toy fair in Taunton, and the guy who was putting the fair on that morning, he was also selling. So he was like literally like this desk, he's like taking your couple quid to get in, and then right behind him he's got his
setup.
Yeah. And he had a yak face, and I was like, oh, he doesn't have his weapon, but I'm like, he's in really good shape. And I was like, wow, I can't believe I literally just walked in, like we had just landed, like this.
Leslie, give me your money.
Yeah, and I'm like,
what again?
Yeah.
The other wallet.
Yeah. Dave, give me the
purse.
Same shit, different country.
It is. So I asked him the price, and he told me, and I'm like, yep. What about these couple Action Force weapons with it? And he put like another, I don't know, 20, 30 quid on the price. And I was like, done. And he goes, mate, thanks for not arguing about the price. I said, that was a great price. Yeah. And he goes, I think so. I'm like, no, this is like a fantastic price.
Yeah. I suppose you're right in a way, but they do that, don't they, as well? I've noticed that, and I'm watching a couple of YouTubers and stuff. That the art of the pile. If you pile stuff on, they're going to do that more than you're just going to buy the one thing.
I find I get better where I just go, I'd like to have that and that and that and that, and then just come one shot.
Gary, did you see that 3PO which fires rocket when you were in Japan?
No, there is one that basically R2 and C3PO fire rockets out, but no.
Really?
Yeah. They're getting their own back, Gary. Gary's rushing through his top 100. RDTM says, some cool 3POs, Gary. Very nice. Yeah, they are. Very cool 3POs, Gary. Kind of sad that toys from over 40 years ago were shiny for C3PO, yet the ones today we get today.
I gotta grab that. This is sitting right in front of me that I absolutely love it. It's not fired up, so it won't do it. But there's the
ooh, hello.
What is that?
So it's the Disney C3PO head, and you can have two different versions. So you can take the front of the head off, and you have the wired version, and then it has voices. So the lights, the eyes light up yellow. Or if you put him in, when he, in, not to talk about the sequels there, but there is a possibility to switch him over when he's being reprogrammed to the Sith, and his eyes turn red, and he comes up with different statements. But
that is super cool.
And
you can only buy that from the Disney store, Gary.
It was, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Daniels was lovely, man. I met him, but I heard he can be spiky. Yeah, he was lovely at Celebration in London. Our DTM says Anthony Downs is cool. Had a right laugh with me and Helen when we met him. Geek Strong's got a question for you. 3PO is a great focus character for sure. Why is C3PO your focus, Gary?
I don't know what it is about C3. I just like the comedy and that part of it. That it was always just fun to me. That it's the same now. I love K2SO, and I think I love K2SO because it's like I'm here to rescue you, and poof, you slammed into the floor, or it's just you're welcome. I've cleared a pathway. You're welcome. It's just a comedic part of the droid that I've got a sense of humor, but I shouldn't have a sense of humor. So
that's one thing Star Wars has always, even in the Disney, they've always done droids well. Always, from Chopper to KS. You know what I mean? Every one of them. Pete, do you have a character, certain character you always buy?
Hoth Han Solos are my
Hoth Han Solos, really?
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on that. That's been on the top 5 that's done that. Megatrons and you know, Boba Fett's last week with Andy, and obviously CPO and Hoth Hans. What the smaller figure, the original Hoth, or anything Hoth Han?
Anything Hoth Han. I mean, I'm looking at 12-inch Hoth Han on a Tauntaun Black Series. I've got a carded Palatoy Hoth Han that I got at Celebration. I've also got out in the other room are like my weirdo variants, including a short shot.
Nice.
Where he's not molded all the way that I got for $8. His face is like missing, you know. It's so cool.
You're a dark horse, you Pete, tonight. You're telling us loads of stuff I didn't know. Wrestling alligators, It's like, who is this person, Gary? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Which Chuckles was 25 quid mint here. It wasn't sold in the UK. Mine was 50 quid, but still a great figure, Scuba. That Amsterdam thing they went to, their prices were ridiculously good.
There you go.
Do you know what I mean? I couldn't believe the prices that they were selling stuff at. I mean, VTR, it's just stuff VTR.
We need to go to Europe.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Adam says, I love to haggle, to be honest. It's one of my favorite things to do. Must be an Essex thing. I don't like it. I get my wife to do it. I don't like doing it.
I had our friend negotiate for our latest car. I was like, I hate this. Will you please do it? I will buy you a steak dinner. And he did it, and I'm like, yes.
I can't even take stuff back to Target or Walmart. My wife has. It must be a British thing. It's just weird. Do you know what I mean? You know, I remember Martin and Steph when they said the British thing went to Disney because the food wasn't that good, and when the waiter came on, said, "How was your food?" Oh yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah,
definitely a British thing, that isn't it?
Darn our British.
Oh, it's delightful. Thanks a lot. You know.
There's a skit that talks about standing in the queue and somebody pushing in, and it's them telling somebody to tell them to stop pushing in. It's exactly true. It's just like, we don't complain. We'll complain to somebody else about the other person. Tell him, John. Tell him. He's pushing in. Tell him.
I do that to our site all the time. Oh, that person's really pissed me off. So I was like, what are you telling me? What do you tell them? It does, depending on price. Sometimes I say yeah, and I grab it and run. Other times, says our John, negotiation is pretty hard. I'll cut some in half to start with and see what happens. Yeah, I think that's what it is. And I suppose it comes down to rarity of an item and quality of an item, that kind of thing, doesn't it? It's crazy how many times
you want something, but you have a certain budget as well. And I think that you know, I've seen a lot of Facebook posts out of context, because it's like, this is the price, and it's like, yeah, but I have this much, and if you don't, you know, I'm not negotiating here. This is my total budget, and then it spirals out of control. And it's like, gosh, it's like, you know, I have this much money, you want this much for it. There's not a deal to be done. Move on. It's fine.
Yep.
I remember the first time I was in Virginia, and it was like 2002, 2003, and this guy had this thing up, Porsche 944, $7,000. And it was like $7,000, and he's got these pictures up, and he's pristine, this thing, and all that sort. I don't know, got no engine. It's just a car, no engine in it. I was like, all right, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There you go, Fred Flintstone.
So do you want it? I went, am I supposed to drive it home? No, I'm all right, thanks, mate. I thought, oh, Shabby's art of the pile. Well, he is nearly 50. Well, you're not joking there. Right, boys, let's get to number 3. Here we are in number 3, Hump Day, fellas. So, Gary, I've got you big. I'll start with you, my friend. What's your number 3?
All right, number 3. And again, it's one of those items that I think, for me, sometimes the newest items are kind of like also the top ones.
Now, I saw this picture. This is ridiculous how good this is. Yeah.
That is the Ghost HasLab TVC figures, plus it was the Sabine and Chopper that was sent as a 2-pack. And I put those figures in a box and sent them off to Cass. And they did a pretty fantastic job, in my opinion, of putting that together.
That looks ridiculously good, doesn't it, Scoops? I mean, I've got to admit, that looks really impressive. Very impressive.
And it scored a 90+. I mean, it's a weird way to grade it, because it's graded as one piece.
Right.
But it scored a 90+. So apparently all of the cards and all of the figures and all of the card backs, all of the bubbles was a 90+ status, which again, it's
now was it your idea to design it like that, or did they come up with that type of design? I don't know how it works. You see, so
it's kind of funny. I've been working with Cass for quite a bit, so it has been, that was my design, and we've got some other bits that we've sent off, which is again part of the collection that we've pieced together, and they're very good in terms of creating or curating pieces. So they'll sketch it out and you just design it and you come up with a concept. Very and then cool. they agree to it. And I think that that's pretty cool piece of working with Cass. You know, everybody says AFA. Okay, AFA is for, you know, sending in certain figures and in certain singularity items, but Cass will work with you to kind of come up with, you know, huge display pieces. And that's, I mean, that's a cool display piece to me.
Really is. Yeah, it really is.
So,
I remember Andy showed me the picture of it and I was like, wow, look.
Those just loose. You're like, yeah, those are neat, but presented like that is just.
Yeah. It's the artwork on those card backs as well, the way they've done it, the art style. So it brings it out on
that mural that they had at Celebration London. Oh.
Gary, how long does it take you to unpack and put your things up when you travel? That's a good question, because you're never at home, are you?
Yeah.
Forgets where he lives.
It's kind of funny. I do travel with a larger suitcase where one side is kind of empty and one kind of is full. And then just in case, you know, you've got extra storage. So,
nice.
But I'm so OCD that when I get in the door and, you know, I literally unpack. It's the same as I get to a hotel. I'll unpack everything at a hotel. So I will put...
Really?
Yeah, I am the weirdest person ever. So I can't
actually use those hangers. Wow.
I can't live out a suitcase. I can't do it. I get to the hotel room. It's like, I'll be back down in 5 minutes. Like, oh, give me 15, and then I'll put my shit out. And
I have to label my drawers.
Yeah.
So it's a question for both of you then, including Scuba. Is this stuff because I know you've been abroad and you've been toy hunting? Is there certain things you've just I can't because I don't want to risk sending that back? Has there been a few events that's happened where, or do you think no, I'll buy it and I'll just risk it?
Yes.
Buy it and risk it.
Buy it and risk it.
When I came back from Japan, I literally had a suitcase with a backpack that was packed into the suitcase, and then coming back, I had another backpack. So I was 2 backpacks and a case, and literally, I don't even know how it was possible, but every item that I managed fit into that space, and there was not a morsel of space for anything else. And it's just, I don't know, you get into a I know that'll fit kind of.
That's Leslie's job every time we're
that's Leslie's job. Brilliant, Scoops. Brilliant.
Well, she knows I stress out, so she's like, go down, drink your Guinness. I'm gonna be up here packing.
But I understand that thing, right? Because my mum will send Christmas parcels and there's big, huge 3 boxes she sends that are massive. And it's like the TARDIS. The amount of stuff my mum can pack in one box, it's like unbelievable, you know. So I agree with that statement. But do you post it when you're over there, or do you bring it back with you then? That's what
I always bring it back. I never posted anything. I don't trust the post.
Yeah, never. No. It's more like, hey, where's that figure? It's in your shoes.
Don Lampel says the camera on my phone is not working, so YouTube was fun for a while. But he also turned around and said, "Hey, Alexa, play Robin Thicke's Blurred Lines." I don't even remember that song.
Hey. Come on.
Mostly haggle with toys anymore, as they are the guys who supply this stuff, toys, I mean. Well, Dino has haggled on all our behalves, thank goodness. Yeah, I bet Dino's pretty good at it. Hey, Red 5, nice to see you, pal. The sale boards on the front shelf scared. I know it's fine,
but still.
And then Red 5 going,
Well, that's the Ultimate Series Collector's 8080. That's pretty damn big as well.
Oh,
that thing is the one underneath it, and then
absolutely brilliant.
And then let's go down there. But you see the USB.
No, hang on. Let me just make a bigger sec. Look at that.
What the France?
That's the US. It comes with its own coffee table, of course. Yeah.
Nice.
That Millennium Falcon that's what I said. It's kind of strange because I've never owned the Millennium Falcon. I've had it in passing, but never owned the Millennium Falcon. But that USC Lego one was phenomenal. That could have been in my top 5. Building that with my daughter for an extended period of time was just fantastic.
Magic.
Yeah, I bet it was. Yeah,
That's cool.
I use hangers. I do all these cool stuff, and Adam's just gone. I use hangers in hotels. I mean, Gary, the same person. Sorry, Gary. I know it's scary to think. Well, absolutely brilliant. Scuba, what's your number 3? Hey, Retro Bunga. Nice. Thanks for coming in, pal. It's lovely to see you.
This is a newer acquisition.
Oh, let me be even bigger.
Wow. Killer whale.
Yep, killer whale box. I've had the whale, the vehicle itself, for a long time, but this is super special because this box used to belong to my buddy Kenny, who has passed recently. Zathras, if you ever saw him in a YouTube chat, and so his mom is selling off his collection, and it is a massive collection that he had. And so this past Saturday, she had this box at the show that we were also at, and I had to have it because it's in such great shape.
Yeah, but I bet it even means even more now.
Yeah, but it means even more that Kenny had this, as part of his collection, and we would hunt together at the local shows. So just way cool. This is going to get pride of place in my box wall that I kind of have in front of me. But it's
Scuba, ever since I've met you and you've shown, I always thought Star Wars boxes were big until I'd seen G.I. Joe boxes.
Right, yeah, the Defiant box.
The flag, maybe.
The flag, yeah, the flag. Here we can.
So I know. So you had the whale. I mean, look at that thing. Look at that.
Jeez.
I mean, it's just massive. Can you imagine the house up north, Gary, where I'm from? That wouldn't fit in the front room. That thing.
Yeah. So it's.
That is a room.
We don't live in that.
That's phenomenal.
It kind of just keeps going.
Look at that. Scuba Pete, man. Brilliant.
And I love how people display boxes as well. That is just
yeah. Jeff does it too, doesn't he? Scoobs puts them Andy and So, if that was important to you to get it with the box, then Scooby. So there's a question for you, pal.
I've always, I don't know. There's just something about that image. I've always it's just so dynamic. That's Hector Garrido artwork. But yeah, the fact that you see. Normally, you'll run into these for several $100s, the box only, mind you, and it's faded. It's sat near a window, or it looks like a rat, had a nest in it, or it was trampled and flattened, and the flaps are barely attached. But the fact that this is just in such great shape, it doesn't
really is, yeah. And the color you can, I understand what you're saying about the artwork because the color is really vibrant on the front.
But yeah,
of the box.
You could put that on the shelf today and say, that's a new item, right? That's how cool it is.
Yeah, it's just got a crease there, but it's
Is there a certain box you're after, Scoops? Right, there's a question for Gary as well. So, of all the boxes, I'll give an example for me. I'd love the old vintage Castle Grayskull box. That's what I like. Do you know what I mean? Because I love the artwork on Masters. What is it for you two? What would be the Grail box that you could get hold of?
After the flag. Ooh. You know what? I would love to have the Palatoid Death Star box.
Your Kenner version.
Yeah, no, not the Kenner. I've got the Kenner version. I'm the Palatoid Death Star.
There it is, right there.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
Shout. So for me, it would be as basic as an Action Man box. Can you remember the Action Man box that they used to come in and literally was with red Action Man written across it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that for me is that would be.
It's the artwork on it. It's the artwork on these things.
Yeah.
It really did sell. I mean, it's like when I've got to give Tev's credit for it because he'll talk about Spectrum games and you see the front covers of those cassettes when we were kids and you're like,
the dynamite.
It's ridiculous. And then you play the game and it's shite. But I mean, the artwork on it is brilliant. Adam says, I took a hold all and bubble wrap to Holland. I'm not even joking. Me and Martin did use the bubble wrap. Well, no, that kind of makes sense, though, doesn't it? Yeah,
I always take collapsible DC deflectors and pop boxes and comic covers. I mean, just have them available, because if you don't use them, no problem. But they're yeah. How else are you going to bring something back?
Yeah,
we've got a bit of a thing going on in the chat. So he says, if you not WhatsApp to me, you're commenting on here, Nikki. Are you stalking me? And this must be Nikki. Retro Bunker says, no, get over yourself, Adam. Get hold of yourself. You're just my
Autograph
number one fan. Absolutely brilliant. Gab asks, Gary, do you have CCPO towels?
No, but I have a pair of socks. I have an R2D2 and C3PO, also picked up from Celebration Japan.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Let's have a look. Been lurking whilst. Oh, I delved over here. Surely you had a brown paper bag for that sex slave G.I. Joe figure too. Oh, he means that one in that. Did you have some of these too? That one he just picked up in Holland. I'm sure you the bootleg G.I. Joe thing, Pete. I'm sure you've shown it as well. The one that Adam's just shown. I can't think of the name.
Ken. Kinky Ken Joe or whatever it is.
Kinky Ken Joe, yeah. The whale was an epic toy. Massive, wasn't it? Yeah, really, really cool. Oh, F off Scuba. It's like, seriously, that's F off Scuba. Charming Scoobs, you know. Whale has a lot of memories for me. My best mate had was a kid, a great toy, yeah. A flood of memories. Do you see what Andy did there? Do you know what I mean?
I see what you're doing.
Man, that flag box makes the ad. Honestly, Jonathan, right? So I've never seen him. I've always seen him on things, and Pete showing him. And so I go to Joe Fest, and I had the understanding that the flag box would be big, but I didn't have an understanding of how big that Defiant box is. That Defiant box is.
You could put a couple children in that Defiant box.
I was literally, which is stupid, really, because I should have thought about it. You know what I mean? Because I've seen the way you carried it. It's massive, that thing. But to see that box in real life, I was blown. I've never seen anything that big ever. That sounds dodgy. I hope don't clip that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she said.
Yeah.
Just put it anywhere.
Well, yeah, no, Retro. These lads have got some awesome stuff. Now I know why Amazon skims on my packaging, because Scuba has all the boxes. Yeah.
There's a world cardboard shortage because of Scuba Pete's house.
Yeah, Ricardo. Yeah, they've got some awesome stuff. They really have. Side note, I love the blue lighting behind you, Scuba Pete.
Oh, thanks, Zoe.
Very romantic, Joey. That's what it is. Very romantic. Right, let's get old. Let's have a look of your number twos. Number two's right here. So, Scuba, I've got you, big my friend.
All right. So before I started to really get the itch to collect toys, I collected bourbon because we're in Kentucky.
Brilliant.
So I have a bottle of Elmer T. Lee, which is pretty hard to find these days, but more so, it's autographed by Elmer T. Lee.
So who is Elmer T. Lee, Scuba?
He was the old master distiller for them. And so when Elmer signed this back in 2009, we would, because we have tons of distilleries around us, so we would go on a Saturday with some friends, and we would basically like tailgate and do tours, and just kind of make a whole day of it, hitting different places, and grab a bite to lunch and the whole bit. But Elmer was in his 90s, and he would still come into the distillery a couple days a week, and while he was there, you could ask him to sign some bottles. And so a friend of mine, dear friend of mine, he bought a case of this back in the day. This is well before, like you said, 2009. So this is before bourbon boom, when prices just went crazy. So he bought a case of this and asked them to, next time he would be in, to autograph them. And he did that. So yeah, this is one bottle that I won't drink. It will stay
story. Oh, I'm like a tart in a con club. I'm like Bacardi and Coke kind of bloke. I know nothing about bourbons and stuff. So that's brilliant.
Yeah. So that sits on the mantle, kind of pride of place out there with a few other choice bottles.
So it's like Gary's wife with the books, and you're looking for distinctive old kind. It's not just bourbons you're buying. It's a certain unique kind of thing with bourbons you're buying.
Yeah, because they're all different flavor profiles, and the fact that you've got him on the front of it, like this is from Buffalo Trace, the distillery. They still make Elmer T. Lee. It's just super hard to find now because everybody wants it. But the fact that he was still alive at the time, and did a little autograph on it, very cool. But yeah, that's where I would spend my lots of dollars on before toys was bourbon.
Are you a fan of that sort of bourbon and stuff, Gary? Are you
Nope, red wine.
I'm the same as you. I'm not
red
really.
Wine is my tipple. It's
right.
I like good red wine. Life's too short to drink bad red wine, but when it comes to
I don't like red wine. It tastes like milk.
That about bourbon. Yep.
My wife loves the stuff. You know what I mean?
Danielle will drink an old fashioned till the cows come home, and I'm like, I don't even know how you can.
No, I'm the same way as you. I'm really. But can I ask you a question, Scuba? What's the bourbon boom? What was all that about, my friend?
So, it became the popular spirit, really well before lockdown happened, and it got super popular globally, not just in the U.S. Because things kind of are cyclical, in what's in the public's eye, and so bourbon is still relatively. It's waning a little bit, but prices demand, like they weren't making. It takes so long to. I think this is a 12-year-old, so it sits in a barrel for 12 years before they can dump it and bottle it.
Oh, so they do the same thing like they do with whiskeys and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
So you have to think, well, how much are we going to need in 12 years? Well, they didn't do enough. And so everything became double hard to get rid or to locate. And so the prices shot up accordingly.
Wow.
So this back in the day before the boom was like a $36 bottle. Now, if you find it, you're going to pay a couple $100.
Is it always the thing as about whereabouts it's from in this country as well? Because like we say, Scotland's famous for its whiskey and Ireland's famous for its. Is it the same as over here? If a bourbon's from a certain state, that makes it a bit more high quality.
Definitely. There's a lot of the heavy hitters here in Kentucky that are. The demand is global. In fact, like the same distillery, Buffalo Trace, it's about an hour from us. There are products that they bottle and ship overseas exclusively. So it only goes to Europe or it only goes to Japan. Yeah. We see. We've been on vacation in the Caribbean, and that's I'm not looking for toys. When we're down island, I'm like, all right, what bourbon do you have in the duty free? They will have stuff, that we never see. And so I'll pick those up,
Wow, that's impressive. I've never ever thought of that. What's crazy, imagine it.
I'm a sewer of bourbon.
Well, yeah, it's fantastic. When we were kids, we all went to Toys R Us and had a few of the flags on the shelf. That must have been fascinating to see them because, like I said, it was never sold where me and Gary are from. Mm-hmm. So that must have been fascinating to see them.
It was one of those where it's just like, obviously you're much shorter then, but just to look up at, service or not service merchandise, but like a child's world where the shelving just, almost a Costco kind of like, oh my gosh, it's G.I. Joe or Star Wars to the ceiling. Like it might as well have been to the moon, but just.
I think that's why I'm a big fan of Ollie's. I've got to admit, because of that, because of what you just said, the look of it, where it's just piled with toys, and it just takes me back to being a kid.
Smiths, we popped over to Smiths in Blackpool. That was the first time I got that feeling again as an adult walking into that toy shop or toy store. Was those big aisles, like on the Lego aisle, just like, oh my god.
Pop Fizzy Bell says, I think you're supposed to drink it, not rub it on your chest. It looks like aftershave, says Joe Jake.
Tastes way better than aftershave.
Our Rhino says, back in my posh days, I used to order Elmer T. Lee and Cokes.
Oh, wow.
Rhino, I'll just have an Elmer T. Thanks. Very fancy. Hey, Nicky, I think that argument's still going. Hey, Nicky, I think I'm your number one fan. Did you have my photo as your phone lock screen? Did you? Did you? Look at him. Stupid smile lock screen. Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Let's have a look. Don't like red wine, unsubbed. It wasn't me.
Well, I did have 2 subs. Now I got 1.
You're back to
Hey,
one.
shoot, Gary. Hey, Shabby. Hiya, Dean. Nice to see you. Totally tailored to it. Good morning, I should say. Has it?
Cider. Scrumpy. You remember Scrumpy?
I remember that.
Scrumpy, yeah. Bourbon can't beat a cup of tea with a stroop waffle.
That is
You
very
can't
hard.
get more Dutch than that, really, can you? That's brilliant. Gary, what's your number 2, pal?
All right, so kind of a similar theme in terms of signatures or autograph. Let's bring up this one. So,
What is this?
So this is Darth Vader. And when I was in Japan, I was lucky enough to meet Hayden Christensen, and he signed my blank comic. But this case is something that I co-created with Drew at Collector's Display. So when I was collecting the John Tyler Christopher comics, there was no real decent way to kind of display them, and I always wanted to have a figure with the comic. So I reached out to Drew and said, could we get a figure case on the front of a comic pack, and then be able to store it so that you can have a slot and have it displayed in a way that you can put it on the shelf. And he went, yeah, we can do that. So we kind of mocked it up, and we had some iterations back and forth. I sent him a couple of John Tyler Christopher comics, and he came up with this design, and he sells it on his store today. So yeah, the comic you can buy it with the stand. So the stand can display just comics without graded, or actually you can do graded comics. It's kind of the thick acrylic casing. But yeah, so he supplies the stand, the acrylic case, the acetate, and the card back.
Such a good way to do it. Put your figure
And
in.
I just think that's a cool display. So that's like the TBC figure displayed on a blank titled comic with Hayden Christian's signature, and something that, like I say, I kind of co-designed. So it was kind of cool.
Awesome. What's that retail for?
I think and then you can just change the figure out. So it's I think it's about $30 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, you can buy it with the figure case. I think that's $25, and with the figure case, it's $30. So yeah,
I'm thinking about that for some of my Joe comics. Like I've had Larry Hama.
Yeah, and you can place the figure wherever you want to. I mean, I've been consistent in terms of putting it in that one place, but it comes with sticky panels, and you just align it. So I think Joe comics around the other way, where the figure is on the opposite side to the Star Wars.
Yes.
So you can place it on the other side.
Oh, that's right. They did. On the
It's universal, right? It's the opposite way. So. Yeah, whereas John Tyler Christopher is always on what that side, the G.I. Joe was on the alternative side. So yeah,
very impressive. Great. Yeah, Retro Bunker says he loves that comic, has it in his collection. Martin says, I love red wine, but red wine doesn't love me. There you go. Adam says, that's very sexual, Gary. It's not. It's great.
Boy, Adam's I'm glad we could turn you on tonight.
Yeah.
Gary,
more swordfish.
Gary, Scuba, or anybody in the chat, do you all keep an inventory of it? Yes, I do. I think it was Scuba that told me to do it. So what I do is I take photos of it and keep it in folders on my PC, stuff like that. That's how I do it. So do you keep inventory, lads, of what you're collecting?
I should.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't you that showed me the
I mean, I keep obviously like video of it all, because I could,
I'm getting better.
Are you? Go.
Professional Z2 gap.
One of these years, it's like.
Honestly, it was worth 2.7 million. Honestly, it was. What do you mean you can't take my word for it?
Yeah.
It was Darth Vader. You know it's expensive. Yeah, I can just imagine. Kim Guppy says, Adam, he 90% agrees and 93% of him has gone hard. Well, there you go. Drew display cases. Are these custom cases then? Or does he sell the the reason why I say Andy got me one for, I wanted a Flint, a G.I. Joe Flint, and bloody Scuba found it for me, which was brilliant. But Andy got me this acrylic case, like his Boba Fett ones, where you put the figure in and the car back on the side. But this guy that you're talking about, this Drew, is it all custom that he does, or does he do standards as well?
Yeah, anything and everything. He's really branched out. I mean, he's the one that did the action figure cases. He's the one that did the coffee table. He's the one that did the Red 5 Designs case for the book. And now he's got into the comics and he's does stuff for Motu. I mean, the Motu display is off the charts. They do the Lego helmets. They do the Lego minifigures. Yeah, it's a full-time business for him. So again, it was one of those ones where I just sent him an email. I've been chatting back and forth with him for quite a time and just said, hey, I want to do this, and he's like, yeah, I can make that happen. So that was awesome, to see something go from an idea with like a sketch and something like that to having now a display piece that's pretty cool.
And it's very well made too. You can see it looks lovely, Gary. That's brilliant.
Blue stuff is cool.
Gap, I have a mega spreadsheet with date purchased, how much it costs. It's a beast. Yeah, look at him. I bet he does. Yeah,
Mr. Statman. Yeah,
Mr. Spreadsheet.
They don't, but the wives and partners do. And Leslie and Danielle in there in the middle of the night. I know how much that was. I know what's that.
Top $5 so far.
Only 19% Keith. Looks awesome with the figure. Yeah, it really does. Let's have a look. I'm a bit tired after this, Adam. Yeah, understandable. Angela May says, I keep mine visually inventoried, but I'm not on a spreadsheet. Every time I redecorate, I take some pics. Yeah, that's what I do. Every time I buy something or find something, I take a picture of it and I stick it in my what is it. So that's about as much I do. Yeah, Dewey's ace. He's the man for cases, in my opinion. I like the one the one that started it all basically was the 96. It was a beautiful case that. I like the way Andy's got it with all the lights in it. Do you have it as well, Pete? Did you have that 96 game? No, I know a few.
I love it though.
Yeah, beautiful.
I've got one for the original 96, and then I've done a second one with all the TVC alternatives.
Oh, slick.
Gap says, can you put the information in the chat? What's he called on? He's on Instagram, isn't he? I know he does Instagram.
Collectors Display UK, I think is.
Collectors Display UK, Gap. So if you go on Instagram, Gap, just write in Collectors Display UK, you'll see him. His work is really good. Even Andy says, yeah, he's worth the investment, definitely. I worked with Drew to get my graded figure case made, and he did an incredible job. So, yeah, he sounds like he's got a good reputation as well, which is awesome. How do I enjoy Jimi Hendrix Jar Jar Binks custom figure? Well, I don't know, pals. Oh, here we go. So, Vintage Server says, so Drew does custom cases, and he will work with you on the design, Gary.
100%. Yep.
Dave's like,
fantastic guy.
I have to go.
Yeah, Dave's on. You know what I mean? Next Dave video, everything's in case.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. So he says, how do I ensure that? And Kieran goes, you don't. Yeah. Were you the first? Yeah, you were the first graded case, were you not, Martin? Yeah. All right. So Martin got it. So you can send that case off to be graded then as well. So once you've got it, they'll do that too, and they'll grade it for you.
Quite possibly then. I mean, again, I just want a way to display comics that aren't graded, and that's the cool thing. I like graded comics, but certain things I don't see the point to send off to graders. But you want to display them, and that's a great way as an alternative, I think.
Brilliant. Well, anyway, before we get to number one, I've loved this tonight. I knew this was going to be a good one. So, and I just want to thank everyone in the chat as well. We've had 60 people practically all night. So thank you all so much. That's awesome for me. You've made me very happy with that. So I really appreciate it. But now it's time to get to these lads. Number one. Dead. And I've got Gary Moore above. So Gary, what's your number one, pal?
Okay, so to take Keith from 93 to 101%, we're gonna go. We're gonna go with this.
Oh my!
This little fella. So this is a toxic limbs bosk.
Right. So
And-
what's a toxic limbs bosk?
Right. So this is bosk that comes with very green limbs, and it's been determined that that's why they call it the toxic limbs bosk.
Cool.
There is allegedly 20 to 25 known examples of this figure,
It
and that's it.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is an AFA. It's a loose figure, Hong Kong bosk, light green limbs or light green skin is how it's graded. It's a 60, which again,
Wow.
it doesn't come across. To me, it has got wear on the hands and the toes, which again goes with the story that, hey, this item was played with. It's gone through a period in its life where somebody's really enjoyed it, and now I get to enjoy it in my collection, even though it's a 60. It's
Still.
such a I think great piece.
Yeah, I love the way he says, "Oh, Gary, you got me at 100, and I think you also got Scuba Pete too."
Yeah, cool. I mean, I know that Tim at Boss Bounty, he has one. His is actually, I think, 70 or maybe even higher than a 70. But
Really?
yeah,
Just
the one
some kid was playing with that and had no idea basically what it was, or
Yeah, this figure was actually part of there was a book that came out in terms of certain figures, and this was actually the piece. I bought this from Action Figure Grader, John Ruler.
John Ruler,
Yeah.
nice
It was
bloke.
great.
And he was selling it, and this is one where I said I'll give him an offer, and it's not the offer that probably he was expecting, and it was quiet for a couple of weeks, and then John came back to me and said, yeah, let's do it, let's do a deal, and that was the amount I was willing to pay for it, and that was the amount that he was willing to let it go for.
Oh, so both parties are happy then if he's
Yeah.
willing to, he thought about it and said that. Adam says literally 10 in the world, maybe 20. Wow,
That is, I had no idea there were that few of them.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't know.
No,
Like that makes Vinyl Cape Jawa like, yeah.
It's final schmeidel.
You're like, yeah, you can find those all day.
Well, which is the figure that I need now. That's the one.
Yeah.
that I need a loose one. I don't want a graded one. I do want a loose Vinyl Cape Jowl, which is kind of challenging to get hold of, especially authenticity and stuff like that.
Sure.
I know that there's one floating around the Portland area that I'm trying to get hold of a UPS guy that will sell me for $100. But
Unbelievable.
Salt in the wound.
So Mandel says, I'm a spent man, Gary. Gorgeous, mate. Gab says, out now, you can all rest that you've all reached 100%.
Smoke them if you got.
Where's my pot of green paint?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, Dina says, very nice piece. Yeah, unbelievable piece. Awesome collections from both of you. I doubt that's true because I own one, and I know that most of the Seattle Star Wars clubs owns them. Andy has one. You have one. We all have toxic limbs. There has to be more than 25, says John. Well, there's only 4 you've mentioned, John. There, there's only 4.
There you go. I said allegedly. I mean, you can do the search as good as I can, and it says 20 to 25 known examples.
Yeah. So Adam's saying, they're ridiculously rare. Yeah. So John did have one as well. Yeah. Awesome collection, lads. Yep. So what's toxic limbs? Were they sold like that? Oh, that's a good question. Were they discolored over time?
No, they were produced with different paint. So literally, I mean, there are so many different variants of the boss figure. You have olive head. So there's an olive head color. There's green head. But the limbs in this one, they used a different paint color. And again, it was bright green. Light green, and then it's been coined as the toxic limbs boss.
Is that a one coup specific instance, or yes? Is it one coup?
Certain factory? I don't remember which one it was. I was too excited just to get a toxic limb in my collection. It's only been in my collection for a very short period of time. So at one point, I'll do a bit more digging about it.
As he told Danielle, it was a pre-order.
Yeah, that was again a hard sell. It was like, look, like she said, don't send the offer. And it was like, oh, what you mean? What, don't send it again?
Well,
I mean, I've already committed to that. I can't.
And they said, don't worry about it because he's not responded. And then I was out and about. I was actually on a toy hunt with Bradley Van Diver, Rocket City Sif, and I got the email through, and then it was going home, and it was like, confession time. You know that, oh, by the way, could you send John Ruler, because I don't have a PayPal account, could you send him this much money? And she's like, what, the actual France?
Did you sit in your car for half an hour and rehearse what you were going to say? Asking for a friend.
Debbie, now we know why he's gone out of the country.
Yeah. She goes, what did you buy? I'm like, I bought nothing. Because she knew I was on a toy hunt, and it was like, I'm not going home and saying I bought all this crap.
It's funny how we're married to the same woman. Do you know what I think? It's funny that, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
John says, but I mean, at least 20 of the folks in Seattle owns Toxic Limbs. I've seen them. Oh, they are. They are perfect. Awesome collections and top fives.
Throw that shit out then. Everyone's got one.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Right, Scuba Pete, what is your number one, my good friend?
All right. Well, you know that my Masters of the Universe collection, I have a ton of the Origin. I have almost everything vintage that there is to have. So now I dabble in the ridiculousness that is all the other products.
That is super cool.
And yes, it still works. I put batteries in it for the show.
I love that 3D effect. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is brilliant. Wow, man. So how did you come? How did you find it, Pete?
This was at a local G.I. Joe show. And it was buried on the shelf that the guy, he just brought some other stuff. And I'm like, I'm having that.
Absolutely brilliant.
Now, this is an alarm clock. So I think I have it set to where you can listen to this. Maybe. Or not. Damn it. I had it working.
Look at that. I need that clock. Get in the queue, mate. Get in the queue. Yeah. Is it coming through? I know, Scooby. Is that in it?
That needs a VTR treatment.
No, I can't hear it, Scoobs. No. Has he turned his microphone off? Have you turned your microphone off, Scoobs?
What?
Oh no! Now we can hear you.
Oh,
now
no.
we can hear it. Oh, you just had it just then, but it's gone.
Yeah.
Did you have it?
There. Right. Okay. You can just tell us what it says, Scoobs.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
But you can't hear that?
No, it's just faint, very faint, Scoobs.
I don't know. Let's.
Kind of, Scoobs, kind of.
It's rather frightening, really. It's like the sound is like, Lord, time to wake up.
So what is it like catchphrases from the show or something? Or?
No, it's like a thing they recorded just for, that's supposed to wake you up in the morning.
So cool, that thing. Scuba Pete will have a sticker that says, because it's Motu. Brilliant. Hey. Hello, Johnny Boy. Good old, not Johnny Boy. It's BOE. BOE's here. That's awesome, Scuba. My wife said that. Did you buy that clock at Sandown Retro?
I found this at Kentuckiana Joe show.
Oh. Are you two running out of grails?
Yes.
Yes. but it still
Because
has.
I'm going to say it's hard now because
Yeah,
we've been
still-
asking when we've done each other's streams and so forth for years. We've always said what's your grail, but I think now half a decade in, I think what is there something that you're still specifically looking for?
The vinyl Cape Java. That's
Final tip jar for,
yeah,
for Gary.
That would be nice to come across. Yeah.
And I've said now that I want one, and I'm going to focus on. I've got some funds to go and get one.
Mhm.
I haven't found one.
Have they gone up? Have they gone up in price? Final Cape Jowers.
No, I think no. I think they're consistent. They're about a set price, and like you said, the challenge is I don't really want to buy a graded one. I want
The graded ones are it's like
yeah. So it I've seen one recently, and it was in another bundle. It was in the first 12 display with all the other figures, and it's like, will you split it out? And he's like, no. I don't want the other 11 figures, to be fair. So just take your time. I think that's what happens with the Grail. You kind of get it in your mind and you're focused, and that's what you want. And I'm impatient, but if you actually sit back and wait, all of a sudden, like Toxic Limb Boss, they just appear like like a London bus. Nothing. 100.
Yeah.
I've been here for an hour.
That is brilliant, Gary. That is brilliant. I suppose you're not going to go to places like, even though places like Echo or ICCC will have them, they're going to be asking for top dollar there, right? So is that what you mean by patience? You'll have a look round and see if somebody else will have one, not in a convention and so forth. Yeah,
typically what happens especially in this community, it's somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that has one. And Andy helped me finish off I was out for a romantic dinner with Danielle once, and it turned into a text fest with Andy Lemire because the guy had about 12 of the last 17 that I needed, and it was a negotiation over the table. And she was like, "Well, this is fun, isn't it?" Get the deal. I'll do this. I'll do that. And the life of a collector, right?
Oh,
you got to strike while the iron's hot. Look,
Gilson
I'll take you out again tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll go again tomorrow. Wow, I have that, but mine doesn't work. And then he writes, "You lucky bastard." So they are. What does he say? He says, "Look at that clockwork. That's brilliant," says Chris. Skelly also has a toxic green face on that clock.
He does. It's neon green.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. That's superb. Quartz.
See, me and Pete like connected that Toxic Slim, the signature thing. We're on par. We didn't even make that.
We didn't even. No, we did not communicate whatsoever.
BOE says, "Oh, I need to adjust my alarm for tomorrow morning. Thanks, Scuba, for reminding me. Early to bed.
Early to rise."
I may be tempted to get one. Look at this. You mean that Argentinian ones Robert was selling? They were modern, though they were cool, Nicky. Is he still talking about that clock? I think they are. Scuba, how much bourbon had you drunk when you heard that clock speaking?
I've had no. I can't believe the microphone didn't pick it up.
No, it didn't. Look, the alarm was as quiet as a mouse fart.
It is. It's so. It's so like,
woke no.
Oh, that's what I hear when Steph is trying to explain what we're doing the next day. I get bollocks for that all the time. And the worst is when I get caught because I'll hear her and I'll be on the phone. All of a sudden it'll be silence.
What I say?
And I don't take my eyes off the phone because I'm like, as soon as I look up, I'm going to get it. Do you know what I mean? So, sorry, what did you? Pete, if you could only collect one thing, what would it be? Motu? One thing. Obviously, Gary's is Star Wars, isn't it? But what's yours, Pete?
I think it'd be G.I. Joe.
Joe's. That would be yours, yeah.
Yep.
Strictly vintage, sticking with the stuff you had as a kid, yeah.
Yeah, because that's such a massive, massive line that I don't have everything. I mean, that's, at some point you go,
Yeah.
That alarm clock, says our Geek Strong, was the reason I was late for school every day. There you go. Joel Jenkins says, "Is that your retirement clock?"
Yes.
Is that Motu alarm clock going to be in the bedroom?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I think I'm going to set it just so it'll go off.
You want to have Chris Miller back on. I got this from the States. You'd be like,
yeah, Chris is like, thank you.
George Aiken's got some discount supply advice for you. Just get an old jar and cut a piece of brown vinyl cloth to match. Do you know what I mean?
That's what half of them out there are. Oh, thank you.
Obi-Wan cape.
There you go. Look at the more trying to persuade you. Stan Solo vinyl, cheapest chips, Gary.
That is my placeholder. I'm not going to lie.
I've got a placeholder with Stan Solo. Thanks.
Oh, that's brilliant. I think Adam got a vinyl outfit G.I. Joe figure. Was in PVC? It was definitely something. Well, there you have it. There is Scuba and Gary Moore's top 5. Brilliant. I've seriously, I've loved it. You two have been absolutely fabulous. It's absolutely brilliant. Let's just get out to the chat before I let you go. You begged me to be in it, Nikki. That sounds a bit dodgy, that Adam Berry, to be honest. On the official 10 toxic scab.
I have run across the She-Ra equivalent of that clock.
Oh, no, yeah.
Oh, no.
It's out there.
Oh, actually, I mean, oh, have you?
You have me at She-Ra.
I associate G.I. Joe with Scuba when I think of other G.I. Joe. That's what we were saying before. You see something and you automatically think of that person. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. Amazing top 5, chaps. Another cracking episode. Not sure how next week's guests will top this. Yes, next week I have. Who's on next week? Let's have a look. Right now. We have the lovely Stu and the lovely Martin on next week. So there's 3 more episodes to go. It's Stu and Martin. Then I've got Scott Whitehouse and Luke Reynolds, and then I've got Steph and Georgie to end the show with. So Steph and Georgie going to do it. So, and then obviously Tub Thumpers is back, and then we'll do it again. But it's been brilliant. The Tall Toys vintage Cape Jowett is more exotic. Oh, wow. Right. So now you look at another thing. I never thought of that. Did they all do it then? Did it not just Kenner? Tall Toys did it. Meccano did it. Gaslight. Did they all do vinyl Cape Jowers, Gary?
Well, Tall Toys is just a guy that got a load of overstock and then was putting cards and bubbles and figures together, right? That's how I know of Tall Toys.
Right.
But yeah, Meccano had a vinyl Cape Jower, I believe.
Wow. Scuba. What would your grail be then? So we know that Gary's would be the vinyl Cape. What would your grail? The one you haven't got, obviously, because I know you've got a bunch of grails in there.
I would love to find for a decent price the Kraken from Clash of the Titans.
Oh, you've been after that for ages, haven't you?
Yeah, that's one of those silent. It just sits on simmer in the back of my mind. Yeah, I would love to. Maybe at Joe Fest. Well, that tends to be the way I roll. I mean, last year it was the Godzilla. On Friday night.
Yeah. That picture you sent when he was in bed. That was the best as well. So Scuba inside, they got me the Eternia playset, but it was sent at Scuba's, and then so Scuba said, "I've got it." And then he's got a picture of him having a coffee with it, picture in bed with it, picture in the
on the sofa.
Brilliant. Des T says, awesome top 5s as always. So glad I had that mug of coffee 2.5 hours. Yeah. Can't believe it. I know it's been brilliant. Let's have a look. I'm washing my hair next week. I won't be watching. Amazing. No, thank you. Thank you for the great live. And again, thank you to the chat so much. Without you lot, it wouldn't be the same show. So anyway, Simon's going to be hosting something on the Shabby Geek channel on Wednesday. We're going to be doing Villains Night. So Simon wants to talk about villains and all the villains in there. And then obviously we'll have ZSR is on Tez's channel on Friday. And then we'll be back for top 5. But anything you two want to say before we go?
No, just thanks to the chat for joining in and making, the fact that now I have a Toxic Lin box absolutely null and void.
I think it's super cool.
Thanks.
Pete, what about you? Anything you want to say before we go?
Pop on over to Chasing 80s Toys because Chris is doing his Road to Joe Fest. I think he's got part 1 and now part 2 out.
See you at Joe Fest.
All right. Yeah, and I'll see you two both there. All right, boys. Good night. Thanks, everyone, for coming. We'll see you soon. Good night, fellas.
See you guys.